This is the One Piece Podcast, episode 885 for the week of Monday, September 22nd, 2025. My name is Steven.
And my name is Greg.
And Simba is hanging out right at the foot of my chair right now. It is SGS week, which means that, in the style of Oda's SBS segments, this is our special off-week podcast when the manga is off, where Greg here, a columnist for VJump, OnePiece.com, and series advisor for Netflix's One Piece series, and me, Steven, translator for One Piece manga in Shonen Jump and Manga Plus, break down the latest events and chapters and share our expertise. But before we get to all that, of course, we do have to catch up. It's been a couple weeks. So what's new in the life of Greg?
Let's see. What do I choose? All right. I hit a new max on my bench. So
nice.
I'm extremely excited about that. That's been about 6 months trying to
Ooh.
budge from, what was it? I think 260 in pounds was my previous best, and I finally got it. I edged it up to 270. So
Nice.
I am excited about that. A lot of work went into that, and yeah, very happy with results.
Cool, congrats.
And I guess I'll try to tie it around back to One Piece. Is I think I mentioned this before, but my trainer is a former student of mine, and he has slowly been getting through One Piece. As he knew that I liked it when he was in school, but I mean that was like over 10 years ago. And he never really got into the series, and he didn't know how much I was into the series until he saw, coincidentally, me on Hokotate on the TV quiz show, and he was just like, I didn't know he liked it that much. But like this was a new kind of chance for him to get into it, and he started watching the anime, and he was just like, he was really into it up and through about Alabasta. And then he was like, this is really kind of taking its time, isn't it? And I was like, yeah. That's about where it starts to slow down. And so I got him into the manga. I sucked him in. And he is now currently the last I spoke to him was yesterday. And he's right before the wedding ceremony at Whole Cake Island. He's like the night before it. And I was just like, there are so many things I want to talk to you about, but can't say anything because the story changes so dramatically after the events of that night. Not to mention that like Katakuri hasn't even been introduced yet.
Yeah,
like, I think they do a name drop, but he's not in the story yet.
That's
he's
right.
not been seen in the story, so it's just like there's so much I want to talk about, but nah, it's just like, well, let's talk again on Monday. So looking forward to that. I think he's going to speed through it the rest of Whole Cake Island, but that's where we're at.
Nice.
How about yourself? What's going on?
Yeah, it's I was saying just before we started that like things are chilling out, but I'm trying to remember. I think probably there was like a week. It wasn't a week from hell, but there was a week probably in between the last time we recorded and now when it was like my brother's family came into town. They were visiting with their kids. And at around that same period, like both of my parents were like having little health issues here and there, stuff that was important enough to take them to to the ER, to urgent care or whatever. And it just seemed like it was just this cavalcade of driving stuff around, taking stuff to the hospital or taking people around to the airport or from the airport or whatever. And it was quite hectic, but that's fortunately in the rearview mirror, and people are feeling better for the most part. But I'm enjoying a little bit of peace and quiet now, and it's nice because it gives me a little bit of time, even though I still have a heavy work schedule. But I have been playing a lot of Hollow Knight Silk Song. It is the game of the moment. And I don't know. Did you ever play Hollow Knight? Are you into this?
Boy, do I have questions for you.
Okay.
How deeply did you get into Hollow Knight? Before I answer your question, I'd like to pose
Okay.
another
Okay.
question.
Yeah, I would say I got probably like 80 or 90% through it. Like I think I had seen just about all the areas of the game, although I know I didn't beat the final. I don't remember where I'm supposed to go to get to the final boss in Hollow Knight, and I got to that point where it was like the map is so big and I don't know exactly where I'm going, and like the pace of finding new stuff had just slowed down enough to where something else came along or whatever, and I was like, okay, I'm going to play this now, and then I just never went back to it. And I thought
Yeah.
about trying to pick it up again before Silk Song came out, but I just didn't I didn't get around to it. So maybe I'll go back to it once I'm done with Silk Song, but they're very large games.
Stephen, I don't know if this is a byproduct, a result of my age or
Mm.
games in general, but the scariest thought in the world now to me is putting down a game before I finish it. Because if I so much put it down for 2 fucking seconds, I'll come
Yeah.
back to the controller and just be like, wait, what?
Oh yeah.
Where? I
Yeah.
can't. I have no idea. I don't know if it's because the maps are so large and the mechanics are so complicated, or just because I'm older. I really don't know.
Mm.
Like I'd like to not think that because I am a very experienced gamer, but um,
Hmm.
it's been happening a lot recently with especially with larger games, like you said, like Horizon. I think I dropped it and came back to it like maybe I don't know 5 months later. Horizon 2,
Hmm.
and I had no idea what to do. I had no idea how to fight anything because because it's so complicated, right? Like each dinosaur is a
Mm.
puzzle,
Right. Right.
and I had no idea how to use the controls because everything was so wheel really. And that's not to say it's bad. It's just games have become to me so complicated. And Hollow Knight, which I did play, and
Hmm.
I beat, and I tried to make a dent in going towards the platinum trophy. Um,
Hmm.
I had to it's the game that broke me on platinums. Like a games
Wow.
that because I
Yeah.
didn't platinum everything I ever played, but like games that I really enjoyed, I wanted to platinum. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna
Right.
go towards this. And Hollow Knight was one of those games where I was like, this is great. Like uh, I have never seen a Metroidvania in modern day created with this much love and care to attention.
Hmm.
Um, do you know what you have to do in order to get the platinum in that fucking game?
I
It's
remember. Here's the thing, because I think my copy was on Steam, or no, it's like the game has its own internal achievements, right? I don't know if those are the
yeah,
exact same, if
probably.
all of them are
Yeah,
are also trophies on PlayStation or whatever.
yeah.
But I know that there was like a, like you have to beat it in hard, one death and in your game is wiped, and then you have to beat it like 100% that way or something like that. I don't know if that's part of
That
the
is
platinum.
as far as I recall. I don't know if that's any like special updated trophy or something like that.
Hmm.
That is, as far as I know, is not part of it. But it's
Okay.
you must beat every boss in the game one after another on one life, and that I was just
Mm.
like,
Hmm.
fuck that.
Yeah.
And you know who fucking did it was he's a friend of the podcast. He's a fellow. I think he used to be like a community manager for Funimation. Um, and I don't remember.
Was it, or no, that I was remembering Josh Koshorg was like, he was the brand
Nope.
manager. He wasn't a community guy.
I believe it was after. Yeah, he was a brand manager. I believe it was a community fellow, but like, um, we're friends on Facebook. I should recall his name
Mm.
in no time flat. I feel so super embarrassed. But like, he did it, and he was just like, "Oh yeah, I did it," and just posted it up on Twitter at one point. I was just like, "How? What the fuck? Like, what are how does your brain work? Like, you're amazing. You definitely need to be studied because I have no idea how you can do that. I have done ridiculously difficult trophies and achievements in games, and my stomach turns at the thought of trying to do that in that game.
Yeah.
So how has your experience been so far with Silk Song? What do you find?
It's really fun. No, I'm probably like like between 10 and 15 hours maybe. I'm not doing it like super fast. I know that there are people who can get through the whole game in like 30 hours or 40 hours, something like that. I'm sure it'll take a lot longer for me because I have been hitting the wall with bosses and just, over and over. You do it 2 dozen, 3 dozen times until I get past them. So I'm still in the Act 1 part, but I've got a bunch of abilities now, and I think I beat a pretty important boss. So I'm kind of at the point where I'm like, okay, now I'm going to go around and find a bunch of stuff that I have access to now that I couldn't before the first time in the areas. So
I am envious of you, and at the same time, I'm scared to think about being you.
You're further along?
No, I will not pick up that game. No.
Oh, okay.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. I think Elden Ring kind of did me in for the super difficulty games. Yeah, and that's not to say I dislike it. It's just like I finished it, I platinumed it, and I think I was like, I'm good. I think that kind of put a bow on it.
You. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
As you said, that wall of I'm not. I got a friend who's like, yeah, man. He's like, that boss was so hard. He's like, I had to fight it 2 times, and it's just like, man, fuck you, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's a memory thing on hitboxes. Like I have to do things again and again and again to memorize them. And then this dude, he'll just be like, he'll see it once and he'll be like, oh yeah, all right. So I know I need to be like outside the hitbox at this point with this tell. And and I try to do that, but it's just like, nah, I'm not wired that way.
Yeah,
but,
neither.
But good to anyone who is. Amazing work. So more power to you.
It's cool game. But yeah, people are here to hear us talk about One Piece. So before we get into the chapters, I'll just give our usual Patreon plug here. I know that people have heard us talk about the sticker stuff, and Steve is preparing to send out the latest batch. I believe we are going to have some what was it, Shmopo Shmaban in Margaritaville. It's going to be Scott Bergabon double fisting Margs. That is going to be your next sticker for our little sticker club. I know that we've been going through it. In case you're one of the few people who has not gotten your stickers, or you haven't updated your address on your Patreon account. That's how Steve will be able to send them out. So if you have not checked that or made sure that you have that, go ahead and update that if you can, and send him a message on Discord or wherever. To let him know that he should have access to your address. I know he's been busy with a move recently and stuff, but I do think that is that is also in the rearview mirror for him. So hopefully we should have more smooth sailing with the future months and so on. So check that out. That's over on our Patreon at One Piece Podcast. I believe that is the $12 tier if you are interested in that. As far as news, I don't think there's a ton of news. Well, there was I guess they've been doing a little bit of promo stuff for season 2 of the Netflix show. They've been putting out I was going to say screenshots. They're not screenshots. They're just stills, I guess, of the characters in costume and stuff like that. The promotional cycle moves on. We're getting ever so closer to the eventual release of the second season. So that's exciting. But other than that, I think we got a couple chapters to get through, and we do have a good number of listener questions. So why don't we just get into it, Greg?
All right, let's do it.
This is the manga recap for chapters 1158, 1159, and 1160. Those are the three most recent since our previous break. And I don't know about you. I have a feeling we will be able to get through these a little quicker than usual, just because there's a lot of repetition in these chapters, and there's a lot of like action where you're just kind of hitting one scene to the next. So
Yep.
We'll see how we do here. I've got my my synopses are written up, so we'll start with 1158 Rocks versus Herald. So first off, I think I don't usually comment on these, but for this one instance, I'll just say Kozuki Moria. But in the chapter itself, Shaki sends a love letter to Rayleigh, so the Roger pirates sail off to quote unquote pillage her. Figurlin Garling recommends God Valley for the Hunger Games and says he found something special there. While Roger and Rox continue their rivalry, Rox is revealed to have a secret wife and child. Meanwhile, Rox admonishes King Harold for playing along with the government's game, and on God Valley, an unnamed woman gives birth to Shanks and Shamrock. Yeah, now I had a little rant, and I was playing it up a little bit for funsies, just to make things fun and funny and whatnot. But I did have a little bit of a rant about the Kozuki Moria reveal, or at least the way that he unveiled this. Like I get that for a lot of people, the get-go, and I literally said this, like when I saw Kozuki Moria on, in the kanji, like I had a little like dyslexia moment where I was just like, oh my God, it's Get-Go Moria. Why didn't I see that before? And then I was like, oh wait, no, that's Kozuki Moria. Wait, what the fuck? My brain just read the kanji in the reverse order originally. And then I was like, wait, he's supposed to be a Kozuki? Now, is this supposed to, are we supposed to take away that like he was like adopted into the Kozuki clan, or
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to get into this because there's a lot of spoiler alert. I'm not super duper happy with some of the big reveals that we've been having lately.
Right.
So a lot of me might, I'm not trying to, but a lot of me might sound jaded. So I'm not sure whether to get into it now or later. You know what I mean? Because there's something of a common thread.
Okay.
Connecting specifically the aspects that I'm not super happy with. But what can I say is playing with names is a difficult thing in a manga. You get a couple of chances at you only get a couple of chances at a really good like gotcha with a name. Like, oh, this character's name wasn't this, it was actually this. Once you start to pull that more and more frequently, it gets harder to do because you have lost a sense of cohesion. Not cohesion. You've lost a sense of trust in the audience because you've deceived them. And when an audience is listening, or when your readers are reading, they only get a certain amount of you lied to me about this. And I don't know, if you're a newer reader, maybe you don't feel it as much, but as for someone who over 10 years ago, was experienced, actually for over 20 years has been experiencing some of these characters and have trusted Oda to only use these kind of manipulating name techniques when it was absolutely necessary. For him now to have one almost on a weekly basis, actually, I think maybe all three of these chapters have that instance where we find someone or something we've been lied to about a name.
Right.
and I think maybe you and I are probably one of the few who've been fans this long, so maybe our perspective is somewhat similar in this, and maybe different. I don't know, but like I feel like there's a little bit like, really, again, and like it becomes also problematic when when pulling that in the world feels just silly. It feels like it was something that was added on. So, for instance, just exactly as you were saying, like you read it as like, oh my God, Gekko Moria. And you're like, wait, Kozuki Moria? And oh, wait, but no, yeah. If you reverse it, then it is, in fact, Gekko Moria. So, like, okay, in this world, who would he be trying to fool with that name? Like, that wouldn't fool anybody. It's like, oh, he's a clever. It's not, he's not hiding anything.
It's just to look clever to the readers, basically.
Yes. Yeah. And when you want to look clever to the reader, then it better damn well be clever. This, I don't know. There, you can argue that there's some foreshadowing, but a lot of it does feel tacked on, especially because what was it like? Toko-chan, being Perona's potential sister, right? Like we don't know who.
What's that?
Have you? Oh my God,
I have not heard this. No.
Oh, just think about it for like 2 seconds.
Oh,
like
boy.
look at the two of them, and it's just like, oh, wait a minute, did he take an older sister with him, and is she the younger sister who was left behind, and she like has no memories of having an older sister? Because if I recall correct, she's an orphan, isn't she? She was picked up by Yasuie.
Toko, yeah, that's right.
Right?
Yeah, he said that they were not blood related.
So what if she has an older sister? Because they look fucking similar. I believe in the anime they both have the same hair color.
That's right. Yeah,
and they've both got those I don't know how to describe it. Those eyes, those beady eyes.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, did Moria just take an unfortunate young girl, like an orphan girl, with him, and he didn't know she had a younger sister? There's things like that you think about, and you're like, okay, that it makes sense, but it feels like it was like it was looked into. Like, can I make this make sense? There's no real solid foreshadowing that this was a thing, aside from the name. Like when the only thing you could argue is like when the Kozuki name was revealed, like be like, oh, okay, I guess if you put that in reverse, it could be read Gekko. But like that doesn't make any sense because putting Gekko isn't a foreshadowing to Kozuki. It would have to be the reverse.
Yeah.
And this is, to a lot of readers, I'm sure listening are raging at me right now. It might sound like Much Ado About Nothing. But I know there are also a couple like Disruptive out there who are longtime readers, and I do wonder if people feel the same way, that you only get so many chances at playing with a character's name before it starts to feel like an abuse of the, not of the system. I don't want to sound like some conspiracy theories, but it sounds like an abuse of author pulling the rug out from underneath you. And unfortunately, that will only continue through these chapters.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, let's. I have said my piece on the podcast as well. I know it wasn't with you specifically so much, but I think we have similar thoughts on the matter. So,
I just it would be nice, like you mentioned, is he adopted? It would be nice if he's adopted, because I'm kind of upset about these men traveling around the world can't keep it in their pants, kind of thing.
Yeah, like it's easy enough to be like, okay, so if the one guy went off, or the one group went off and they sailed off to the East Blue, that's fine. But like, okay, but he's from the West Blue, so like, is this a different? If he was supposedly Kozuki, if he was born Kozuki Moria, then that means you have to explain a different group of people potentially that splintered off from Wano, and yeah, it's just, it feels very messy.
And why wouldn't he be referenced or revered or seen anywhere in the country? Like, like obviously,
yeah.
it seems like it was a thing where he was respected enough to be immortalized,
Hmm.
memorialized here,
Yes. Yeah.
because it seems like he did a heroic thing. It seems to be that he defended a village against Moria. That you see I don't know if it's supposed to be in disrepair or if that's actually the cut that wounded him. But you see how it's not a torii, it's the part of the shrine that's like cut down the middle
Yeah. Right.
behind the Kozuki Moria.
Yeah. The beams.
You can't really tell for sure whether he's just trying to show that it's old and decrepit,
Right.
or is that the site of where Kaido actually did the damage to Moria? Like, is this where he took that final stand, and where he got
Mm-hmm.
supposedly that cut that runs down the middle of his face?
Mm.
Is this where he got that damage? I don't know. It would be kind of interesting if he did, but like you could say that maybe those kind of things are kind of threading. I mean, the fact that he was a hero here and it's not brought up any time or mentioned during the massive Kozuki Oden story,
Right.
at least not that I've seen. Maybe if I go back and read it, there's some little hint somewhere. Like I don't know. There's a Yatsura that has dots by it, that I never picked up or
Right. Right.
something. You know,
Yeah. The plural.
maybe it's
Yeah.
there. But you and I are usually pretty good about picking that stuff up and putting a pin in those. And I don't recall anything. I mean, it doesn't seem lazy. It just seems muriyari, like forced in.
Yeah. And my issue is like, okay, like I can see all the little bits and pieces that connect to each other, but like to what end? Like what is the point of all of this? What are we getting out of it? How is this enhancing either Wano's story or Moria's story? Because unless he has a plan to bring Moria back and it's going to really pay off and it's going to have something really cool and worthwhile, and he might do that. I might completely change my tune on this, but at least at the moment, it just kind of feels like we sort of already had his story. Like I don't see where this is going, that it's going to be worth all of the little hints and nods and clever asides and whatnot. It's I don't know.
I don't know if you and I are on the same page, but we are in the same book.
Mm-hmm.
Moria will definitely be back in the story. He's going to play a part in the final war. Um, it's going to be interesting, but my whole thing is not does Moria need to come back in the story and be important. It's because he will. Everyone will. But
Sure, sure.
it's what does that what does that mean for Wano? Like what is how what would that mean for the country that he was a part of? What does it mean for the family that he was a part of? Like how is it important there?
Mm-hmm.
Like what does it do to that end? Because I'm not interested. Like if he comes back in the story, this has almost nothing to do with that.
Right. This just
Maybe
explains like what he was doing in the past, but
yes.
what does it have to do with what he's going to do in the future?
And why specifically that family? Some people have suggested, maybe he can read the poneglyphs, so that's a plus for like Cross Guild. Like, do they have a reader now? Technically,
Yeah.
but
then
okay.
then Oda would have to break his rule again because that was only taught to the heir to the shogun.
Oh,
Right.
Stephen, Oda can break that anytime he wants.
That's
Are you
true.
kidding me? It can be like, oh yeah, he was the deshi for like, and
Yeah.
or he was in the room next to him, and he secretly saw that. That's why you can't do this shit. Is because then it comes to that
Yes.
point where it's like, oh well, yeah, he made that rule, but then he broke it, or he told us this character's name, but it's not that name, and that's what upsets me about it because it creates those scenarios where you have to doubt everything that they give you, and there's a fun doubt, and then there's a well, we just don't know. So, um,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of when an author breaks down their own barriers to this extent, it destroys a lot of the magic that's there. because you can see behind the curtain, and you can see that he's constructing this because he thought it would be cool in the moment, which goes back to creating rocks looking like a carbon copy of Teach looking like a carbon copy of rocks. He wanted that cool, like, wow, it's definitely Blackbeard's father, even though, it says at the bottom, but like from one look you can tell, and wow, he wanted that moment, and he didn't think for a second like this would be a dumb thing to do because they look exactly the same. I'm sorry. This is such a shitty way to start off the podcast. But like, there's no way to avoid this bringing me into this conversation about it. And I'm kind of, on the other hand, I'm kind of glad I got this out of the way. Like I said, it is going to be a common thread, but I'll try to keep my main displeasure with it to this extent. But okay, I feel a little bit better. This is like, is this the SGS, or like, is this just like it's kind of become my therapy session with you now, is to kind of go through this. It's like my decompress.
Yeah.
I feel a little bit better.
Yeah. I do like the reinforcement, and I think we saw some of that prior to this, but it's also very, very thick in these chapters of like during this time when they're in their prime, all of this stuff with like Roger and Rox, and especially like reintroducing Shaki as like the Helen of Troy of her era. That it's just like, it's like a High School Musical or something. Like it's just the popular kids fighting, the nerds fighting the jocks and all that stuff. Like it's so funny the way that they, when you're kind of expecting them to be like absolute badasses who are always, and they have those moments, but like at the heart of it, there is just a lot of like, these are just kind of young people without many cares in the world who are just kind of thriving and doing their own thing and having fun with it, and it doesn't have the same kind of sense of intensity or like urgency that all of the the stuff involving the One Piece does, for example. And I just think that's so funny, and I didn't necessarily see that coming. But I do enjoy that part of this flashback.
I would say that pretty much everyone fits that description, except for Rox. Rox seems, I mean, like Teach is, maybe there's going to be some, like psych, like he actually was this, or something. He doesn't care about his dad, blah blah blah. But he seems like a man with a mission, and it seems like everything that he wants to do, and all the people that he's assembling, it seems exactly like Blackbeard, in that like he recognizes people of extreme talent, and he wants to get them together to more or less use them to as a means to an end. And that's the only, to this extent, that seems to be the only not cool thing about Rox, is that he does seem to be using these. He seems to have a goal in mind that I don't know if he shared with any of his crew. I don't know that he has. Maybe,
I mean, if he's like talking with Harold and saying like, yeah, here's my secret name and all that stuff, I certainly would not expect him to be having those same conversations with the randos on his crew.
Right. And it doesn't seem to be that way. He seems to have he seems to open up to Harold more than anybody else. Like even part of me wants to say like, maybe he opened up to Whitebeard, but then almost as the second it came out, before it came out my mouth, I thought, wait a minute, think about that for a second. Like Whitebeard is just, at this point, like he's a badass, but he's not Yonko Whitebeard. It's like, no, he's not going to open up to him. So yeah, he's the only one who seems to be kind of understanding the world stakes that are involved here. Everybody else does seem, just as you said, it seems everybody else seems to be having fun.
Right.
Can I say a random thing about Shaki?
Sure.
I like how he has, because I've been shitting on the series for 20 minutes now. I like how he depicts her hair as being kind of tsuya tsuya. I don't know, silky smooth.
Yeah. Yes. Shiny.
Um, shiny, because she does not have that necessarily in the future. In the future, when we've seen her, and that's just kind of cool to represent her age that way, because she obviously still looks like amazing, but she doesn't have that same sheen to her hair that she does when she's younger, and that's an interesting choice to depict age that way, because it's one of those things, like, instead of drawing like lines or giving wrinkles, etc., like he'll tend to do to a lot of characters, he just chose to make her hair look more not as sheeny,
just
and
flat,
I think that's a really cool choice. That's neat. I do. Doesn't she have like the devil wings in the future as well?
Yes,
but they're black.
Yes. They're black,
and now they're white here when she's younger. Interesting choice. I like that. That's cool. Carrying through. I still have sweatshirts and shit that I wear from when I was in high school, so like I get it.
Yeah. You find a motif and you stick with it.
Do you think that the events of God? Well, maybe this is best saved for later. Yeah. Let's talk about that, if I even remember it by then. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow, Shanks and Shamrock, they're brothers.
Yeah. Shocker
wow.
there. Now, the interesting thing to me on this page, and I don't know, I forget if we talked about this or if I'm thinking of someone else, but we don't really learn much more about the mother. We've seen her once or twice more in these chapters, but we don't, Oda is very deliberately not revealing too much, but there's some interesting details with her interactions with these townsfolk. And maybe this is just Oda, trying to give you a little glimpse of like, okay, this was the life that Shanks and Shamrock could have had if not for their father, the being raised by all these lovely people, it takes a village, et cetera, et cetera. But like, it was interesting that like this one guy says, oh, I hope they grow up to be, wise like you, to the mother. And that just struck me as a very interesting comment. And I don't want to like generalize too much, but I think for Japanese culture, at least for, for someone coming from Japan, I think if you were going to do a boilerplate, like just sort of very, very typical, line, I don't think that would be like the adjective that you would go to first. And so it suggests that like there's something notable about this woman that we haven't been told otherwise. And I don't know if that's going to be important or if that's just kind of like, okay, maybe, she was a special person on God Valley, but all that really the only way that this really matters is that it helps explain, why Shanks and also Shamrock are so extraordinary as individuals because they came from very good stock, et cetera, et cetera. Or if there's, if there's more to that story. But that really stuck out to me in this kind of initial scene when we first see her.
Are you trying to say they have good genes?
Yes. Yeah. That's definitely what I'm saying. They're drawing up the ad campaign now.
I know I'm in complete agreement. That's a very God, just like we were saying with like the Moria stuff, like if only there were a line like this related to that in Wano. And yes, okay, yes, asterisks, maybe I missed it somewhere, maybe there is one, but yeah, it does stand out. Like, why would you use that? And it's also not like the first thing you'd think Oda would go to either. Because he's more of a like when he goes with his gut instinct for a scene, that he's just like, I'm just trying to depict a typical conversation. It seems like he would go for it like, omae-san mitai ni. I don't know. She looks obviously attractive. Like if they were, I hope maybe they'll be attractive as their mother. Like
right.
Aside from whether that's PC or not, like that's a go-to line for him. Like,
Mm-hmm.
just to have that, especially coming from an older character, as it seems to be. But why does he choose Wise? Um, that is an interesting choice. And just going back to they have good genes, kind of dig, but like, they obviously they have a bright mother and a very
Mm-hmm.
powerful, or at least I would say inclinated. That's not the word I'm looking for, but uh, they're not prone to, but like they have they're well developed for battle. In other words,
Yes. Yeah.
so they have brains and brawn. These two. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, what family are they from? Also, we know that there are what um, Buccaneer genes on this island as well, right? So like,
Yes. Presumably,
yeah.
it's again a little unclear for sure, but there's definitely some kind of ancient stock here on God Valley.
Hmm. Interesting. That is, yeah. About the mother, and maybe that's why he doesn't deliberately show the face. But like, I just constantly. Another thing
Mm,
is like not showing the face of the mother again. Um.
yes. Yeah, I had a comment about this because people were noting, and we do see presumably Teach's mom's face when we see them too, but obviously
Yeah.
this is a repeated theme here of unfortunate mothers of children, and in addition to maybe hiding something that he wants to reveal later with the mother here, I also said he can kind of get away with it from a certain artistic standpoint as well, just because you know Shanks, we don't always see things through Shanks's perspective. Like Luffy is the main viewpoint for the series, but I think it's kind of a classic style thing of, well, Shanks was separated from his mom when he was an infant like this, so how much does he really remember? He never got to know her. And so in a certain poetic sense, not being able to see her face and to identify her visually, kind of puts us in a similar space with Shanks. It helps kind of, emulate that mindset, or that experience that he's had. And so, you could explain it that way, but, of course there
Steven,
is
you changed my
also,
opinion. No, you just
is
did
it?
it. You just changed
Okay.
my opinion. Good.
All
I
right.
like
I
it.
did it.
I love it.
I did it.
I love it. That's what we're here. See, this is therapy. This is growth. This is
There we
we're
go.
moving through. I
Talking you through it.
absolutely do like that. I agree. Yes, you're right. And it's like the Doflamingo thing with the sunglasses.
Right.
Okay, okay, yeah. No, I'm satisfied. Thank you.
Okay. Well, that was the last page of that one. So let's move on to 11:15. In this one, Sheki is kidnapped from Pirate Island to be used as a prize in the God Valley game, sending all of the big pirate crews and Garp into action. Garling delivers a fatal but slow acting blow to the twins' mother and takes the boys. Rookie Marine Monkey D. Dragon is shocked by what he sees happening around him. Rox meets with Harold again and reveals that he is secretly Davy D. Zebek from God Valley. And as the game is set to begin, the Davy clan prisoners are revealed as targets. So
Hmm.
yes, more naming shenanigans.
Yeah, I won't spend too much time on that, just
Mm-hmm.
because. But it's because it came so fast and so furious. It just
Yeah.
it was like, to me, it was just like, oh, okay. Um, One argument I don't particularly agree with is, or stance I don't particularly is, see, and you thought Davy back fight wasn't going to be important. Um, to date, I love Davy back. Davy back is awesome,
Mm-hmm.
but to date, like Davy back fight, like as Davy back fight as an arc, is not terribly important.
Right.
To the lore, like it's a thing that occurred, but it's just a name. Like we got to hear Davy Jones's name there. We got to hear that we throw coins to the sea, which is to say maybe they arrive at Davy Jones's place. And I would love for the treasure. Like, One Piece is probably not going to be a quote unquote treasure, right? It will be a thing. It will be an item, but it would be kind of cool if the treasure is, at least in part, all of the coins that got thrown to the sea over the years. Like, what if they actually all drifted to? But that's neither here nor there. But as it's related to lore, Davy Back Fight is not terribly important, or at least not as important as something like, say, the Skypiea arc in general is to modern day core story lore. I don't necessarily agree with that. So that's not a slam dunk argument, but you win points if you just always love the Davy Back Fight because it's an awesome arc. I give points for that. So what do you think? Are the Davies related to like Buccaneers, or are they a special group of Buccaneers? Like, what's going on there?
Let me, because this does get mentioned in the next chapter. So I'm just going to jump ahead to that first spread. So the announcer says, let's see, what does he say at the end of this chapter? He says, in addition to the Buccaneer kid, who is obviously referring to Kuma, we have crossing, first being seen in public again for the first time in 800 years, yada yada, the Davy clan. And then subsequently in the next chapter, the crowd is like, yelling at them, hurling abuses. And then there's the line, Buccaneer nandaro omaira mo.
Yeah.
Which is like, it's basically saying, aren't you Buccaneers too? And that could just be that Oda was like, well, it's a little awkward to say we had the Buccaneer kid, who you saw before in this old scene in Kuma's flashback, but we also have more Buccaneers who are the Davy clan. Maybe he just thought that was a little awkward to reveal, or maybe he just changed his mind in between chapters. I have no idea. But it did seem like an oddly kind of backwards way of intimating that fact, or revealing that fact that the Davies are also Buccaneers. So that's why I'm not sure. I'm not really sure. Like, are they actually Buccaneers? Are they just, a particular family from the Buccaneer nation or culture, or, however that is defined?
That's what it seems to be.
That's what it seems to be. Or is this like them not really being sure and kind of equating the two as like equally, scandalous to them or something? It's just not, it's not really stated with perfect authority. And so I'm not entirely sure what to make of it yet.
Yeah. I'll buy it for now. I'll take it, but like, again, this is part of the fallout from that distrust is like, oh, really? Let's see, let's go back to the previous chapter. Sorry, I was just jumping ahead there, but it is a relevant topic. Okay, so what does that mean then? Like, a lot of people are theorizing, is Joy Boy then Davy Jones? That is a name switch that I can get behind, and this is why I hope that this is my shining light in the darkness of my my jadedness. Right. Is that it's not simply, I'm just not against it in general. It's how you do it, the number of times you do it, and I think that Joy Boy being a quote unquote foe, or a secondary name, is absolutely fine because it sounds like that. And Oda has been fairly consistent with that in the series. Like when we get a character called Mr. One, I think years ago when it was revealed that like that's Daz Bonus, it was like mind being blown. Like, whoa, like he has a name. Like he's not just Mr. One. And it's like, no shit, dumbass. Like, of course he has a name. His name isn't fucking Mr. One. Duh. Mr. Two, like his name isn't Bon Kure. And that was actually surprising. Like even now that I think about it, it's like, yeah, okay, I thought maybe his name could have been Bon Kure. But like, because they called him Bonchan, right? But like no is actually Bentham.
Mm-hmm.
Joy Boy sounds like it could be a title, and I can
Yes.
fully get behind that. So it's not just me at random not liking name changes. It's one's how you build it up, how you do it, and that one works. I totally would get behind that. I don't know though if it fits. Like, are we being given this look at Zebek? I never I got to think how I want to. Do I want to call him Rocks or Zebek or Date? I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know what the freaking call. But when we look at, like, I'll try to call him Zebek as possible. But he calls himself the Rocks Pirate. Well, never mind.
Mm.
When we look at Zebek, like he's this obviously buccaneerish, as we've seen so far, buccaneerish type body, a very large, compared to a
Mm-hmm.
quote unquote normal human, hulking, muscular body type. And yet when we see depictions of Joy Boy, it seems to be lanky, kind of like a Luffy figure.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. That's true.
so like, is that Oda doing his shadow thing again? Like, is that
Mm-hmm.
the 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 Big Mom that looks kind of almost nothing like Big Mom in the during
Right.
Border
Right.
7? Um, is that just a? Uh, I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't know if I have a strong opinion on it, whether or not one way or the other. But I think it could easily be a bait and switch. And then, like, yes, they are larger. He was just a thinner type of these, and we've only seen the muscular types because it is kind of a red herring. It is a fake out. So I don't necessarily think that just because he's lanky doesn't disqualify him from doesn't disqualify
Right.
his ancestor from being Joy Boy. Um, Man, it's so tough to think about, to refer to this character, because Joy Boy could be a fake name. Joy Boy could be a Davy, and also Nika at the same time. But it's not Nika because Nika is actually a god. But do we know that Nika
Right.
was a god or an actual figure in point in ancient history that became a quote unquote god because of the devil fruit, or is it just the concept of a god from the beginning? It's really hard. But I
Yep.
do appreciate that kind of weaving that Oda has done to kind of cover the origins of a character. That's what I like. It's this,
Mm.
spending, because this is a double for Teach now,
Right.
because Teach, he wasn't,
Is he
Marshall.
Marshall? Is he Rocks? Is he Davy? You know.
Yeah. So there we are. That's a lot of my Davy spiel. I don't have too much on like the lore or the history of it, or I don't want to get too deep in that. I don't know. Did you guys talk about that on the regular podcast?
Just like the implications
Yeah, the
for
implications of what
Davy
it could mean.
being not so much, I think. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's like once he starts narrowing down, like, oh yeah, this is the guy. I mean, now did he say? They said that the Davies have not been seen in 800 years, at least by the government.
Hmm.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that Davy D. Jones was from the Void Century. He could have been older, right?
Yeah,
Is that okay? Because yeah, if he was
could
from the
have. Yeah,
Void,
as far as I know,
yeah,
yes.
yeah. If he was from the Void Century, then at some point it's kind of like, okay, well, I mean, is this one guy the same as the only other guy that we've heard of existing in the Void Century, or are we gonna eventually get some kind of more fleshed out flashback where Oda actually introduces a full cast to help color in our understanding of what that time period was like. And I don't know. I don't know if that's what's his plan. I don't even know if he knows for sure whether that's his plan or not. But uh, yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna wait and see.
This is kind of
Uh,
an aside, but how do you like? And again, slightly jumping ahead, but almost two chapters in a row, the Yamato story.
mm-hmm.
kind of looking like the final chapter. And then
Yeah.
absolutely not. I'll tell you, when the first time I read both of these chapters, I saw the image first, right? Like the image enters my brain and I go, oh, Saishukai. And I was like, I'm surprised. I thought that, Mom and Kaido would be coming into the end of this. And then I go immediately down to the bottom to check. This is like, 0.1 seconds, right? So
Yeah.
image, okay, process down to the bottom. And I'm like, it's not the final one. Okay. And then the next week, same thing. Like, oh, okay, yeah, this is his perfect, like, ending to the arc. Yeah, great. Wait, it's not the final one? 2 in a row.
Yeah.
And I think that's on purpose. I think he's trying to give a lot of readers the impression that, like, this is the end. And I think he's going to pull a gotcha in one of the next
I would love that.
ones. Yeah.
And I do believe it's been announced that the One Piece when One Piece comes back, it's going to be it's going to have the cover and the color spread and all that stuff. So it's going to be a few
Another
more
week.
weeks before we get the potential finishing entry to this cover spread.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I'm trying to rein things back into 11:59.
Yeah,
young Morgan's looking derpy.
Yeah, I did think it was funny that like they specify that like at least at this time it's just a local newspaper that he gave a very ostentatious name. Like set your goals for where you want to be, sort of thing. And so now, in 4 decades later, he actually has a worldwide newspaper. That's pretty good.
Yeah. I don't know if it just works on me this way. And this is just me reading it. I know a lot of people are excited about God Valley. Rightfully so.
Right.
But for me, I think this is despite all my misgivings, he's really doing a good job of keeping the main pull, the main drama being between Zebek and Harold here. How these two come to where they are at the end of this is super exciting to me. And I think the level of friendship that you're going to see on display here, and the kind of the Oda's typical sacrifice, story of sacrifice, is going to play into why those horns come off.
Oh, yeah.
Because Zebek is probably going to do something that's going to save face for the Giants. And it's going to be at likely the cost of his life. If not the appearance of his life to everyone else who's alive. Like what I'm intimating is, what if Zebek is still alive, right? Like that's a possible, unless it's confirmed that he has one of the fruits that are currently being used, right?
Yeah, that's the only way we can know for sure.
Yeah, well, and even then, it's like, oh, somebody invented this thing that can actually, but anyway, because the drama between these two is so big for me, and I don't know if that's hitting everybody the same way, but I am fascinated to see these two come together and go apart, again and again.
Yeah,
and they both have such. Obviously, Zebek's goal is to get to Imu, right? Somehow, because he says, "I'll be back."
Yes.
It seems to be a vendetta, and he knows that when he sees Imu for the first time, that he can't change shit. So he becomes something for himself. He gets a crew, and he knows that he has the capability to try to accomplish what he wants to. And this entire time, he's been trying to get Harold on his side, because I think he knows exactly what the world government knows, in that you need the Giants on your side in order to win. And in that, trying to constantly pull him in, the two of them have become friends. And they started off as friends, obviously, but then they came to fisticuffs when they came to a societal disagreement over where they should be.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, whether you want to work with the government or against the government, right? And he wanted to work for it. He being a Harold, sorry, he wanted to work for it to work towards a better future. And obviously Zebek still not being completely genuine with him, sharing everything that he knows, because maybe if he did, then it would become a different story. And I don't know why he's being quiet about it, whatever his goal is. But I get the feeling that, like, if he did share that with Harold, Harold would be at his side in a second. And because he has, I think when Harold becomes aware of what his goal is and what he's done to get to that point, and because of what he will sacrifice in order to accomplish it, I think that's when we'll see those horns be probably ripped off, torn off.
Yeah. And the like the structure of the way that he's told it, like, is just begging you to expect that, right? Because we've seen throughout this flashback, you know, Rox and Harold interacting so many times. It's been like at least 2 or 3 times that, you know, it's like, come on, man, you got to jump. You got to wait. You got to wise up. You got to realize what the government's doing.
Come on, Harold. We got to go. We got to go exploring, Harold.
Yeah, exactly. And Harold keeps refusing. And like, you don't just hammer the same point multiple times if you're not going to bring it around at the end and have the tables turned. So yeah, it's a you know, not dramatic irony, but it's you know, the dramatic weight, the tension of like, okay, you know, this has to come back around. And I think that's a very rich, you know, undercurrent to what we've seen building here.
Yeah. And for me, that's the main pull. I'm interested in that drama. And a lot of people are like, wow, you know, well, isn't this supposed to be the Loki flashback? You know, why are we taking all these sides? And this is a hard question. Do you think that Loki is aware of all of these events?
I mean, I feel like realistically, probably no. Okay. And I don't take, like, you know, we joke about these sort of things, but I don't take like the framework of how we start the flashback as like, you know, as like a literal, as like a literal narration of like, oh, all these things Loki is telling, you know, all these things like Oda, the narrator is showing us, and presumably, you know, at least some of this is going to be told, is what Loki is telling to the characters, and how they react to it is going to reflect that. But I don't necessarily think that this means that, like, when we get out of this, that Luffy is going to be aware, or you know, the more attentive members of the Straw Hats are going to be aware of all of these details.
No
like
way.
That's not the way that Oda writes.
No, not at all. My only question is, does Loki know it or not? Because if he doesn't know it, then it is a bit of a pull on Oda to do this here in the middle of his flashback. But as a reader, we obviously need to know what's going on here in order to get to the next stage and to have that proper drama. Right. So it makes sense from a narrative, even if it doesn't from the sense that, like, okay, we're getting this flashback because, and the flashback within the flashback is occurring because Loki is aware of these events. In a perfect world, yes, that would be the case, because when that is occurring, when Loki sees what happened to his father, like he's thinking about all of that. But I don't think that he's going to be informed. He's going to know all of that. Which will be interesting moving forward as well for the modern age story, to see how he reacts to when or if he learns about what happened here. Right. But I could be wrong. It would be interesting if somehow Loki has been made privy to all of these events. But somehow I don't think that's the case. He seemed too carefree when he came home to see his dad, right before the murder. So yeah, I'm not sure that he knows all this. Anyway, that's a weird aside. That's like an aside within aside. But that's all to say, I do think that Oda is doing this flashback correctly, even if some people are bemoaning the fact that it's not really Loki's, or it's not sticking to that point. I
Yeah.
think that the drama here is perfect for what it needs to be between giants and the outside world, and that's all that matters, even to Loki right now.
Hmm. All right. Well, I think the last chapter here, 1160. This one is actually a pretty simple, pretty straightforward one. The Celestial Dragon's depraved game begins and carnage ensues. Dragon secretly saves Eva and Kuma by trank shotting a celestial dragon near them, then somehow finds the twin boys and runs off with them, while the Rocks Pirates, Roger Pirates, Knights of God, and Garp's fleet pose for their photo shoots.
uh, so do I start this one off with an apology? Knights of God.
Yeah, well, actually, so I was confused by that, and I kind of went through so I don't know, I forget if I talked about this with you or not, but I did bring it up on the podcast last week that at least for the moment, temporarily, I'm kind of transitioning. So like I was talking to Alexi, and I'm like, what are we going to do about this? Like that, I'm counting up like, okay, here's all the instances, here are the volumes that this term appears in already, several of which are already in print in English. And I'm like, okay, what do we do? And there's like supposedly a deliberate meaning here in choosing, the word God singular, for example. And he was like, why don't you just call them the Holy Knights of God? And then we'll just ignore the old ones. And I was like, hey, that's why you're the editor in chief here. Quick thinking. So yeah, so at least for now, we just kind of mashed them together, and maybe over time, once people get used, because I can't just switch it completely and be like, hey, this is did you notice the change here, like off camera, that we changed from one to the other? You got to give people a little more continuity to make sure that the association is right. So
Yeah.
at least for now, we changed it to say Holy Knights of God, but my plan is by a later point, we'll be able to just say Knights of God.
Cool.
And
Classy.
it won't be, it won't bother anyone. It won't ruffle too many feathers. That's the idea.
So the reason for this and why I'm apologizing is, as I may have mentioned in the past, from time to time, I get consulted by the production staff about English namings, and most of the time it's not an issue. But this is one where it came up, and they're like, "We want to do the Knights of God. What do you think?" And I was like, "That sounds fine to me, but um, the English version uses the Holy Knights, and that's going to be something that that's a name that they've used, so that's going to have to change." Now, I try to be diplomatic here, so I do tell them straight out, like, you can ignore that. They can just simply change it in the English version and keep it changed.
I just to be clear, like, I don't necessarily want, in all cases, like a choice that I made to dictate, creative decisions, like on the Japan side, like it's,
right.
if there's a good reason, if Oda has a plan for something, like I want him to execute on that. So,
Yeah.
that's not like it can be frustrating to me to have to deal with the aftermath of that, but that's just part of what doing this job entails.
Yes. So actually, do you want to, because we had an interesting conversation about this. It was like, what is the point? That's what I had to ask them as well, is what is the point of specifically using Knights of God?
Yeah.
And Stephen, you made a really interesting point, like why it's important to be vague at times, and this can work in your favor. And thankfully it does most of the time. Or it can work against you, as it does from time to time as well. But why did you choose Holy Knights?
Yeah, so I went over this last week too, but
did you? Okay.
I think yes, but I think you will understand this obviously much at a much more basic level than the rest of the guys, that like there are a number of different ways to parse Kami no Kishidan, and ways that, like, if you differentiate the text in English, has different meanings, but they can all mean, they can all be covered by the way that the Japanese term is. And so it was it was a compromise that I had to make, because I was like, well, I don't know if these guys are, I don't know if they are the knights of a god, of a singular god, of Emu, basically. I don't know if they are knights of the gods, like if they because they serve the celestial dragons, like is it that, are they god knights, are they actual, because are they celestial dragons or not? We didn't know at the time. They could have just been just been like a super special security squad that is allowed to protect Mary Joa or something. We just didn't know. And if I had committed to any of those, it could have easily turned out backwards, and then it looked really awkward in retrospect. And so Holy Knights was kind of a compromise, where I was like, well, I mean, I gotta have something that potentially covers each of these interpretations, and I'm glad to to know it now. But I just didn't. Yeah, I had no idea what it was going to turn out to be like at this point.
Yeah, and so when they brought the Knights of God to me,
Mm-hmm.
I said, okay, well, what is the inspiration for this? Like, why must it be Knights of God? Like, I'm not arguing against you. I just like, what is the point? And they said, like, they are the knights of a specific god. It's not like it's specifically like, it's not like Greek mythology where you have multiple gods.
Yeah.
It's specifically like the Judeo-Christian kind of like a singular god. And I thought,
Yes.
okay, all right, well then in that case, Knights of God, or the Knights of God, would be an excellent choice. And I also I did offer the Knights of God, and they, as they often do, they try to keep it succinct. So they said, we'll go with Knights of God. And I said, okay, but the one place they did use my suggestion for was with the Roger Pirates.
The Roger Pirates.
Yeah. So they did keep it there because they like the fact that the accentuates like the one and only. Like yes.
Roger.
Yeah.
They do love that in Japan.
So that's cool. I'm glad they did like that. And Garp's fleet, that was easy. So yeah. Dragon is doing the rescuing here. This is kind of Dragon's origin story as well, right?
I want to point out too, I got really confused, and we had people who were pointing this out to me, and to be fair, there were people who were confused in the last chapter, because there was the sequence where you see
I know what you're gonna say.
Right. You see Dragon talking to Shanks's mom, and then like the next panel is Teach's mom with Teach. And so there were a lot of people who just like put two and two together of like, oh, that's Shanks's, or that they were the same person, or that they were the same scene, but they were actually completely different people. And I had a similar thing where I forgot, because we see her talking to him on this first page, right? Where she says like, I don't have longer to live, but take the boys to someone who will raise them kindly, and make them into good people, et cetera, et cetera. Don't let him have them. And I didn't realize, and he doesn't really necessarily like explicitly spell it out, but like in my head I was like, oh, okay, so he has the boys now and he's taking them to safety. I didn't realize that no, he has to go off and find them first. And because of course Garling took them away from her. And so I was really confused by some of the panels where it's like, okay, does he have the kids in this one? Does he not have them in that one? Yeah, now in retrospect, I do see the like the order of events, although we still don't really know. I think he kind of yada yada'd over like, how does Dragon know where to find them? Presumably she told him, I guess, but like, how does he go in and get them? Like he could have definitely fleshed that out into a whole scene, but instead it was not important enough to preempt any of the other stuff. So we just kind of, boom, he found him and he's got him, and now he's rushing off.
Yeah. That, I don't know. The scene didn't confuse me.
Okay,
And I
good for you.
I think it was just
good
because
for you.
sorry, it's just because the hair color. I think it was the hair color, and also like the bars. Instantly, it was just like, oh, so these are two. It was a little bit. It was jarring because he didn't put either. He did two things that were. He made two mistakes basically. One is from top to bottom, the panels were not. There was no difference in their separation. It felt uniform. So it felt sequential. Next, he failed to add one of the like the time. I don't know the vertical slice as to show the time is passing. He failed to add that as well, and I think that helped create the illusion that things were happening sequentially there. But just a second of like trying to be like, okay, well there are bars here and there's this.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't necessarily get confused by the mother to mother thing, but the order of where the babies were, that was what got me.
Yes. No, that completely went over my head. So good on you.
Yeah.
Oh, Streisand. Streisand.
Ah, yes.
This motherfucker.
Where is he?
My entire next column for the website is about Streisand, and it just got approved.
Ooh. Oh, nice.
Yeah, so you can look forward to that. Yes. I'm glad that Oda's finally. I'm still gunning for him being that 10th member, but let's see. Speaking of names, I do have another anecdote about names, but I can't say it in public yet because the chapter isn't out. But there's something funny that
something
occurred.
to look forward to. Yeah. I mean, there's not as much.
I think
to
we're through
say
the chapter.
About, yeah, it really is just kind of like, okay, and now everybody's here. The Smash Brothers logo went up, and they're all showing up now.
Oda's the hand. He's a master hand. What is it? I don't know.
Yeah. Squashing him around and
so
moving him into place. Yeah.
All right. We got how many gods now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh yeah.
7?
I have a question for you.
And then we got Gunko as well. I don't know if Gunko is. I don't think Gunko is a member yet, right? We didn't know.
There was a weird. Yeah, there was a weird term that they gave her, right? The where is her page? Kamino Jujin. What did I call? I called it like the devoted blade of God, and I wasn't sure. And they made it sound like she was kind of a provisional member, or was not like a fully fledged part of the Knights of God. And I wasn't sure if that was because she's like an apprentice, or if this is because she is like, being the devoted blade of God. We saw her in the flower chamber, like maybe she has a special apprenticeship or relation with Emu. So something's going on there for sure.
Yeah. I don't think we were aware that she was part of a Celestial Dragon family.
We weren't aware initially, although they did add that. He added that to the recent volume when we first see her and Shamrock show up. They changed it so that her caption says "Man Meyer family sink."
Get out.
Yes, yeah. So I guess you didn't see that then. Yeah, they. So I guess this is just him covering his bases and making sure he puts it again in the weekly chapter so that people didn't miss it.
No, I don't.
Yep.
I don't even touch volumes anymore. I get them. I barely read the SGS. Wait, so in the latest volume, there's a change?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
No way. You wouldn't happen to know the chapter offhand, would you?
I don't remember which.
Oh my god, there it is. I just got it. Yeah, I flipped to it. Oh wow.
The introduction scene.
No shit. Interesting. Mm-hmm. Okay.
But I'm almost positive. I'm like, okay, there's no way. Like she has to be like a what like the equivalent of like a Muko or something, like the you know, the gets welcomed into the family from outside because you know, we know that there's definitely more to her. Yeah, there's definitely more to her story.
Yep. All right. So we're going to count her as 8, right? So we got like at least 8 knights, and then Garling himself being a former, so we're up to 9. Yeah, that's you got a set of arc villains here, huh?
Yeah.
Unless they all no, because some of them are definitely still around, right? I think we've seen some of them before, have we not, in modern time? Like the skull dude we definitely saw before, right?
I don't want to confuse him with like another skull dude or something. Haven't we seen multiple people?
There's the god of the sun, right? Who did like
that's right.
Thing.
Yeah, that's right. That was Roto with the, maybe that's what I'm thinking of. I don't know if we've seen this guy though in the present.
I'm pretty sure. I know we've seen a previous like Knights of God, and that character was definitely there.
Okay,
but I don't know if it was modern or not. I'm pretty sure it was. This could all be solved if I fucking read the series more than once these days. But
now I had a question for you, because like, I mean, we're assuming, at least based on the precedent, that you know, all of these people are celestial dragon, at least the ones that we've been introduced to directly, are from celestial dragon families. And yet there are clearly at least like 2 folks here who definitely do not look 100% human. And I'm like, what is the deal with that? How did that work out? Does that not violate all of the celestial dragon ethos, that we have some, you know, people with horns and gigantic guy with wings and stuff? What do you make of that?
Yeah, the horns is that's like, those are ancient giant traits, right? Now that we know.
That's what it seems like.
If you got some ancient giant blood in you, then it seems okay for you to have horns. I mean, that seems to be the Moria explanation as well, right? Like, aside from possibly being a long neck, we don't even really know that anymore.
Right.
And anything with horns seems to be ancient giant. And is ancient giant, like, oh God, are demons supernatural or not? Like, how far does supernatural go in this world?
Yeah.
Were demons man-made, or are they supernatural in origin? Actually, I just remembered now. I wanted to say, like, I'm going to put this out there. Sorry, this is completely aside. I swear I'll circle back to this. Is Davy Jones still alive at the bottom of the sea? And is he this goofy fucking looking like skull with eyeballs? Because Robin, I think, says that like he's still alive, right? That doesn't mean that he needs to be.
That's the legend.
That's the legend, and it does not mean that he still needs to be alive. But what if he is? So, like, what if they were in Goonies, and when they go into the ship, One-Eyed Willie is just like, "Hey guys, welcome! I've been waiting this whole time." So, like, what if that's like what it's gonna be with Davy Jones? So, what if why Roger laughed is because it's just like, it's this giant table set up for a feast, and Davy Jones is just like waiting there, and he's like, "Why are there so few of you?" Or like, you know, something like that. But yeah, that'd be funny if he's just this like a brook with eyeballs, and just like maybe like the slightest level of skin on him. Anyway, that's a whole other topic. But yeah, so like, are these demons in the world? Because we know that, quote unquote, things that we define as demons or devils, we know that they exist, right? But are they the creation of technology, or are they supernatural in origin? What do you think? I love throwing this awful question at you like this. This is so complicated.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm willing to bet, if he cared to define it, I'm willing to go along with like well, they're not explicitly supernatural, but maybe there was a species that, you know, that resembled them, or that were them, that were just part of the fabric of the world, you know, millennia ago or whatever, and they died out, and so now they're just kind of a remnant of the past. Um, but I don't know. I mean, that doesn't necessarily help us explain things like the weird, demon summoning rituals and whatnot.
Hmm. I think a lot of that can be taken back to fruits of some sort, right? Fruits of some kind,
Sure.
or
I
maybe
mean, yeah,
a
anything.
supernatural origin, right? Um,
Hmm.
I like, are they confusing? Like, okay, let's say it is supernatural. Then has the devil essentially become their god? Have these people confused the devil for God? Because the the most fucking interesting thing in the series at this point to me is, what did Corazon mean? And I don't, not that he
Mm.
knew, but like, D はなんだっけ D はいつでも嵐を起こす and
Yeah.
D is the enemy of God. Now
Right.
we fucking know what that means. Is like D is the enemy of Imu, and over
Hmm.
time has the devil become God? Like, was he like, oh man, this devil fucking thing isn't working out for me. Like, my image is just shit. He's like, I gotta become God. Um, and in doing that, did it succeed? Did he succeed? I don't know. I do think that there is a super. I do think, obviously, there is some sort of supernatural power in this world, and I think that's what they're taking out of the center of the earth, in the Harley.
Yeah. Hmm.
But I don't know if demons are necessarily, the demons themselves are supernatural. I don't know if it's not a, if the amalgamation isn't a creation of several species. Like, were they trying to create a super species? And was the result of
Hmm.
that, like, even this fellow here? Look at this fellow. Look at him. The
Yeah.
Knights of God. That dude. It's like, who does he look like? He looks like the fucking
Yeah.
amalgamation. It's like, are they? Is that what they're trying to rebuild? Is that, like, are they trying to make a new body for Imu? Is that the goal of this? Is to create a
Mm.
ideal vessel for Imu? To what extent then? Why does Imu need that? Imu has complete
Yeah.
control of the world.
Right. Right.
What more do you need? Is it a Genova kind of case
Mm.
where, is Imu of alien origin? Uh, did Imu get stuck here? And Imu's like, I need to get the fuck off. I need to get out of here. So I need the ideal vessel in order to do that.
Mm.
Um, I'm going to go with, for right now, that Imu's being might be of alien origin. The devil fruits are supernatural origin. And the amalgamation is a vessel that Imu needed, in order to either enact control or to get off the planet. Like, what could possibly, what could Emu possibly want at this point? It has everything.
Hmm.
Its goal has to be larger than the planet itself. Is it a resource? Are they trying to get resources for whatever their home was? Their, you know, infinite possibility home.
Yeah. Yeah.
It seems to. What do you have? What do you want when you have complete control? Would just keep control? It doesn't seem satisfied. They're still trying to win over the giants. They're still trying to get more people on their side. Unless it's just, are they on the defense? What do you think about that? Are they just
Mm.
on the defense because they know that the next Joy Boy is coming? That would make sense.
I mean, yeah, that certainly explains or rationalizes a lot of behavior, or it explains the need for more clamp, the an escalation in clamping down on what the people are doing, if they feel that their their demise, or their potential, the ruination of everything that they're trying to do is at hand. That goes a long way to putting in context some of their actions.
I don't know if I like that. are they rushing to keep control, or do they have a bigger thing in mind?
Mm-hmm.
My idea, my hope would be that they have something bigger in mind. They've got pretty decent technology. Interstellar travel seems to be beyond them at this point, even though an air can apparently fucking get to the moon. But do they want to go beyond that? We know that space travel seems to be possible.
I mean, I do think that, like, as a propulsive force for drama in storytelling, I mean, I do think that there's something appealing about, like, both the antagonistic sides, the two the two rivals or adversaries, like, both trying to achieve something specific, rather than it being one side is trying to do something, the other side is trying to stop them.
Yeah.
Because at that point, it's just kind of like, I don't know, it's almost like a mirror image thing, where it's like, well, you go with this, you have all your force trained in this direction, the other side has their force trained in the other direction, and then you're kind of locked in a stalemate until you get the answer. One thing breaks down, but, like, having them both trying to do something which is at odds with each other, I think it could potentially be more interesting.
Yeah.
At least to me.
Yes, I agree. It's a good take on it. All right. Well, we've got
none of that we're going to see in the next chapter.
Yes. We have at least 9 Knights of God, at least. So it's looking like there could be a decent pair up if there needs to be a pair up.
Yeah.
So who's Frankie pairing up with? No, I know. Let's not go there. Please, God, don't let that question be in the questions.
Yeah,
it's going to take me another hour to think through.
But yeah, speaking of the questions, though, I think we are ready to go over and see what the folks have to say.
Yeah, we are.
So why don't we take a quick break, and we'll be right back and answer some of your questions.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
This is the double anime recap for episodes 1142 and 1143. I'm your host, Sam, and today with me we have Steve Yurko.
Word.
Okay. I'm sorry. Episode 1142, Come in World, Vegapunk's Message. And it opens with, if we remember where we left off, it was Caribou confronting Van Auger and Katarina Devon.
Mm-hmm.
Crying, begging, shitting his pants, asking them to let him meet Blackbeard. He believes that he has something that Blackbeard will love to hear. But Auger and Devon are very antagonistic towards him. They're like, why would we believe you? There's lots of, like spies and assassins coming after our captain. And Caribou's just like, no, you have to believe me. You're gonna regret if I don't say it. It's gonna shake the world. The information I have, and it does seem to pique their interest. They're got have a cautious glare bearing down on him.
I do like when Ogre's like, well, he is a pirate, so.
And Caribou has an internal monologue re-explaining to us, the audience, that he's talking about the knowledge that he knows about both Poseidon, aka Shirahoshi, and Pluton, which I had forgotten is literally in Wano. That was
lots of stuff.
That was an interesting one for them to have plopped at the end of that arc.
Yeah, that was crazy.
We get more CGI marine ships blowing up.
But CGI explosions.
Yeah, it's a little better this time because like the explosion happens and then you see like a busted up ship. It's not like it's not like before where the explosion was literally just hiding the ship and just hoping you aren't noticing. And there's a trend in this episode of like a lot of quite nice looking moments and animation for like the most random scenes and characters. Like there's this really cool pacifista, like almost like shoulder checking the camera, like that just has a very nice just nicely drawn, has a nice arc to the motion.
I feel like one of the themes in terms of animation for these two episodes are animators getting their shit in. Like there's some scenes where like, yeah, this isn't like the most grandiose scene in a One Piece episode, but these animators like, oh, I get a chance to do a scene, I'm gonna make it count.
Yeah, that's definitely the vibe. And we're going over the various vice admirals at the scene, even though we've seen many of these characters already. They're all getting big bold title cards, like Vice Admiral Doberman, Vice Admiral Bluegrass, Vice Admiral Urban, who I've become like minorly obsessed with. They just look like a human-sized oars, but they're like have a magician theme with a smoking top hat.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, that's Urban. Yeah, he kind of looks like a Muppet.
He looks like a Muppet. Like when you see his like full. I was like looking at his Wikipedia page, and there's like a picture of his full body like anime reference sheet.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like he's such a Susian looking character with his hair,
Susian.
making him look like he looks like a gourd.
Yeah, absolutely. Susian's a great description.
There's like so much going on for such a character who we probably weren't even paying too close attention to in the manga.
Oh yeah, there are some like 11 designs with some of these vice admirals. Because what, like guillotine.
There's a vice admiral Hound who's the most just some guy of all the vice admirals.
I was gonna mention, like, I always found like Doberman to be such an odd name for that vice admiral way back in the day, because I was like, oh, but then it's like Doberman, but I guess like I'm like, oh, Dalmatian feels like the doggy one, yeah, the dog one. So it's always
I was having that exact thought process earlier. Like there's both Doberman and Dalmatian, but only one of them has like a dog theme to their design.
Mm-hmm. I think, I don't know. Well, the thing is like Doll, and I mean Doll's kind of punk rocker, but has like the spiked collar and all that. Mm-hmm. But yeah,
we have
who else we got?
Vice Admiral Tosa.
Yeah, he's the one
chasing our heroes through the forest, and he gets got by by Brogy's axe.
Here's another thought I had, because we're talking about all these crazy characters. Like I always thought, like, it's like I applaud Oda for his creativity, but I feel like he has invented so many vice admirals. I'm like, why couldn't you just reuse some of them here? I mean, not to stunt your creativity, but I was like, what about all those guys from Enies Lobby that you've never done like anything with?
Well, Doberman's here.
Yeah, he's the only one, I think, right?
Who are the Doberman was Dalmatian from Enies Lobby?
Dalmatian, Momonga. Who's the guy that looks like Bluto? Was Bastille one of the Enies Lobby?
He's
No, Bastille was just at Marineford and then was at Dressrosa. And then he got his like helmet crushed by Sabo.
Was Strawberry yet?
Strawberry was, oh god, how
Strawberry, and then like the smiley dude.
The Bluto looking guy with the cigar. I don't know. Maybe Oda was just feeling creative, but I always just thought, I'm like, man, you just keep making Marines, and I remember them all.
Speaking of Doll, Doll is skywalking through the sky and meeting up with Bluegrass, who is now riding one of the big robo giraffe that I guess she's hijacked with her powers. And she's letting Bluegrass know about the giants wreaking havoc on the other side of the shore. And Bluegrass is like, "Oh, have you fought giants before?" And Doll lets us know that she has worked under a giant before. And this is apparently Saul. So she, 2 decades ago, she worked for Saul. So how old is Doll? I would assume she's like early.
I don't think she's that old.
I did that thing where you type a One Piece character's name,
Yeah.
but you don't specify that you're looking at One Piece. No age given. So we don't know. So she could be like way older than we think.
Huh.
And yes, Saturn is waking up and getting into fighting shape, just as Luffy is landing on his feet to check on Vegapunk, and then that cuts to like the inside of Vegapunk's lab, where we see the heart monitor. It's beeping, but we know that's gonna start slowing down here. And that brings us to the catch of the episode.
Always a good sign when you show a heart monitor early on in an episode.
Saturn is approaching Sanji and Kizaru as they're having their little stare down. Sanji takes note of Saturn looking a lot less human now. He says, "You've got that crazy look in your eye," and the camera zooms in on Saturn's eye, and we're kind of interpreting that this is him at his most animalistic. This is his, he's going to protect his empire.
Yeah, it definitely gets more across in the anime for sure. I mean, I guess it was kind of obvious in the manga with the eyes, but like now it's like, watching him in motion, like, oh yeah, the design is a little bit different. It's not just a guy.
Yeah, he's not in his hybrid form. He's in his full monster crab mode.
Oh yeah, because he doesn't even have like his arms anymore. Like,
yeah, and his legs are like way more noodly in this stage.
Yeah,
in this sort of like awakened form.
He's way more spider than man. Yeah.
So Luffy makes a big giant. He makes his hands all big, and he does a big hand clap in order to distract Saturn so that Sanji can scoop up Vegapunk and start running. Saturn is jabbing at Luffy with his crab legs, and Luffy's doing that neener, 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 you can't get me, acting like a silly little guy. And I love this scene of Sanji's running with Vegapunk in his arms, and we get a POV shot from Sanji's point of view, running. And then Kizaru like zigzags into frame, but like he's like perpendicular, so it kind of like he kind of looks like a freeze frame of somebody walking across the street. But then like that quickly turns into a kick to Sanji's face.
Yeah,
right into the camera. Great staging for that attack. And this causes Sanji to basically like lunge Vegapunk into the air, and then as Vegapunk is falling in the air in slow motion, Kizaru ignites his lightsaber and jabs right through Vegapunk.
It's like he took out his like all of his internal organs in this.
Yeah, he had already been impaled, and now he's getting impaled again from the other side.
Maybe I'm confusing this with the other impale. I don't know. Like this, this is the anime. I'm like, Jesus, that's his whole stomach.
He's got at least one episode of talking to a loved one.
He's going by Frieza minutes.
Yeah, like Ace's death episode. Luffy yells out in distress, and Vegapunk's. We come back to the heart monitor, and it's like it's not like flatlining yet. It's just like lower than before. It's like less regular. The peaks and valleys are smaller, which I don't think that's really how the heart monitor is supposed to work. But okay. And Sanji seems, he's seen with his own eyes that this old man is dead, but he's picking him up in his arms anyway and continuing to run. And Kizaru zips back towards Saturn to help in the fight with Luffy, but then but Luffy just like scoops Kizaru up and like hand plants Saturn's face and is like basically holding them apart from each other, like nope, like two dogs fighting. He's like, nope,
two dogs fighting.
Sorry guys. And the very like somber kind of like eerie piano music is like playing through the whole thing, so it's not like a big. I remember in the manga that this is like a big like boom, like Luffy's having this very cool moment, but it's more focused on the tragedy of Vegapunk.
Mm-hmm.
And then we come back to the heart monitor, which is now properly flatlining. And then on the TV screen behind the monitor is a video that starts to play, and a pre-recording of Vegapunk, basically the equivalent of tapping the mic to say, like, is this thing on? And then that brings us to 11:43, Vegapunk's secret plan, a tense worldwide broadcast. And this has a brief cold open, where Vegapunk is beginning his message. Hello world, I'm Vegapunk, the humble genius scientist. The message I'm about to leave will likely shock everyone, but it is the truth of the world. He's spending most of the episode this pre-recording of Vegapunk that is playing after his proper death. It begins with a lot of like back and forth and banter between the Stella, Vegapunk, and Shaka. And Shaka's like trying to rationalize with him, like, hey, people have to, take a moment to tune in before you start going through your speech here. And so there's a lot of like kind of getting everybody tuned in, getting the video transponder snails up and running, giving
it's
everybody.
It's funny because it's so obvious, it's padding time, but it is true,
So the message is coming through the transponder snails, and so we're cutting around to like the world, and we're hearing like all the snail phones are being like hijacked by this forceful like mental wave technology that Vegapunk is using, and is broadcasting through like marine stations, and everybody's hearing it. Like you have Kyros and Rebecca, or I guess they're still in Mary Joa, and they're taking their time to have a little.
I thought they
training
were in
session.
Dressrosa.
Are they back in Dressrosa?
This is Dressrosa. Kyros was never in Mary Joa.
Okay, you're right.
Yeah.
It's
Also, I don't know how Leo would still be hanging around in Mary Joa after what they did to Charlos.
True.
We cut the Dressrosa a lot. I think that's what's throwing you off, because we see Rebecca and Kyros, but then we go see other citizens.
Yeah, and we got Rebecca in like just like extremely contemporary, just like a tank top and cargo shorts.
Yeah.
And you got Kyros is training her, but he's like hopping on the one leg still.
Is he hopping?
They haven't like come up with
there was one cut where it was like an aerial view of like him and Rebecca and Tank looking up the screen, and Kyros is just standing completely upright. And I don't know. Maybe someone should write into Oda, like maybe he just perfected it while being a toy.
Yeah, they never made it look super. But there is a shot of the transponder snail in the foreground, Rebecca and Kyros training in the background.
Yeah,
and it's like a properly animated, like swinging and dodging, and
right.
You got Kyros.
I'm just surprised at why is Oda resisted giving Kyros like a peg leg or something like that. It's not like the eye patch thing where everyone thinks he's saving it. Or we do have one peg leg user. Yeah. Like somebody. Yeah, just like somebody is write in a little explanation of some one of the scientist characters just happened to visit Dressrosa, and they're like, oh, here's a leg. Here's your your Star Wars artificial limb. I just mean like Zeph,
Yeah, or like Zeph, or
It's a pirate manga.
I just feel like in the modern One Piece, that's we're in the Star Wars just give somebody an artificial hand.
Oh yeah, at this point, like Kyros will just form a leg out of aura. Yeah.
A hockey leg.
Yeah. God.
Yeah, we got Iceberg waking up in bed. Every other location it's daytime, but like I guess Water 7 is at night.
Yeah, we'll probably see more locations. But I commend the anime because I was wondering, and I'm like, all these locations can't be daytime.
Yeah, I'm curious. Curious how much it tracks, like in terms of like how distant we assume these islands are from each other.
Well, when you think about it, we're getting close to the end of the Grand Line, which is almost like a full circle around the world. It's back, where we started. So I could see because
the new world is like underneath underneath North Blue and not underneath East Blue, I think.
I believe you're right.
So if it's daytime in East Blue, I would assume it's more likely to be night in the New World.
Oh, it's like dusk, maybe. Like
yeah,
it's cloudy. So it's either I think it's dusk or nighttime. Wait, but that but then that explains Water 7. I don't know. We're thinking about it too hard.
Don't know. Dory and Brogy are unbothered by the Marines shooting at them, and they take their swing. The banter between Vegapunk and Shaka continues. It's a weird feeling when they just like specifically say, give it 10 minutes. It's like, okay, is this gonna be like a literal 10 minutes then?
Yeah, I thought about that. Not gonna happen.
Saturn's looking, extra pissed as Luffy's hand is still just like firmly right in his face. And Saturn is communicating telepathically with the other elders, insisting that Vegapunk should be dead. He saw it with his own eyes, and yet
he thinks.
Yeah, he thinks. It's like I'm 99% sure that he should be dead, unless there's some other factors we weren't aware of.
That's not 100%.
Yeah, we get some just regular Dressrosa citizens. We get some of Windmill Village. I like this conversation of the villagers being like, "Oh, if only we had a video transponder snail." Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, mayor. Want to buy us one? Is there room in the budget? But Whoop Slap's like, nah, hearing it's enough. That's all you need. I'm a radio man.
Yeah, their Wi-Fi signal isn't as good there.
Yeah. Iceberg's secretary Alice has a video transponder snail prepared for Iceberg in the other room, and
a name going off. She's never kind of properly been introduced in the anime before, so
yeah, she's in Fan Letter.
Yes, and I think she maybe has appeared in like the credits of maybe it was Stampede or something.
Yeah, I think we've like seen her in the periphery.
Yeah,
but yeah, she's very very type A, very on top of things. Just going off of the long list of preparations she made to make sure everybody in the city is able to watch this video. Because she figures it's probably important, and Iceberg's very like chill about it, but you can tell he's thinking like you're like a little psycho. But thank you. Vivi, Wapple, and Morgans are watching, and we see the girl fawning over Vivi over her shoulder. The girl who I believe is the one who is letting Vivi borrow her clothes.
Yeah.
And a lot of the random citizens of the world who are watching this video, they're frequently fixating on Vegapunk's head.
Yeah,
they're like, "Oh, that man just chopped part of his head off.
He's operating at half brain."
Yeah,
and knowing how big his head was, I'd say it's maybe like a quarter or a tenth.
Well, I don't think any of his brain is in his head anymore.
That's One Piece, baby.
And the revolutionaries are also watching. And yeah, Ivankov is among the people who's like, whoa!
What happened to his head?
Yeah, what'd you do, buddy? And Dragon's remembering the conversation from way back at the beginning of the arc, when he was on the phone with Shaka, and Shaka was saying that Vegapunk will be dying soon. That ominous prediction. That brings us to the eye catch of the episode, and Saturn and Kizaru are kind of both ready to get back into action. Kizaru he like shoots eye lasers because he's still in like Luffy's fist, but Luffy dodges the lasers, and then we get the big Gum Gum Dawn symbol. He like basically he does the clap he did earlier, but he flattens the two together, and there's a good slow-mo shot of them like of Kizaru and Saturn like going cheek to cheek before blong, and then they become a couple of flat Stanleys.
What's a flat Stanley?
You don't know that children's book, Flat Stanley?
No.
Well,
Flat Stanley.
Okay. And so Flat Fuck Kizaru. We get the pizza shot, the point of view shot of Kizaru as a flat disc flying through the air as Luffy is spinning him in Saturn like pizzas on his fingers. And then he sends the villains flying. Kizaru crashes into one of the marine ships. We get some obligatory Naotoshi Shida animation.
Oh, this was Shida? This is, yeah.
I assume so. It's
looks very Shida.
He's been up and down this last like 10 to 20 episodes.
Hell, he even gives, ships like a kind of windy neck.
Yeah. He does.
I thought the same thing. I saw the scene, and I'm like, oh, this is Shida, right?
Yeah.
If it's not, someone's inspired. So
Saturn redirects midair, so he's now flying back to the island like a UFO, and even Luffy is surprised by this. His eyes bug out. They do the cartoon thing.
Yeah, have like a little like stylized background too, which I thought was good. I thought that was
as the UFO Saturn is now chasing Luffy, and Luffy's running away. And Kizaru has a moment of coming to. We get this cool kind of sketchy animated version of his of the moment he killed Vegapunk, which is not something he's thrilled about doing. It's probably a action that's going to live with him for the rest of his life. And he just kind of puts his forearm like over his eyes, like he's like, "Please don't look at me," to the Marines standing around him. And now the five elders, they're getting antsy. They're like, Saturn, like this is going on too long. We can't let Vegapunk speak freely. And so Saturn's still spinning like a disc. He kind of ground slides as he lands after having knocked Luffy into one of the buildings. And as he grinds to a halt, we're cutting between the Egghead and the Marijoa elders approaching their big pentagram thing in their office. And now the Black Lightning has returned to Egghead. It's storming everywhere. It's turning nighttime. Maybe it was already nighttime this whole time, and that explains the time zone differences. And now Saturn is surrounded by the kind of smoking entry points that the elders the rest of the elders are coming in on. And there's we're kind of pushing this fuzzy like VHS effect in some of these shots.
Yeah, like looks a little pixelated.
And we're get this kind of ominous cliffhanger of the we're almost going to see all five elders emerging from the Black Lightning altogether. But before we can see that, it is to be continued. Dun dun. General thoughts on these 2 episodes, Steve?
2 fine episodes. Judged by the next episode preview, you could tell what they were saving their time for. But I think the first episode of the 2, I like the storytelling device of the heart monitor. I think that was great, because then when it finally flatlines, you zoom out, and then like the video starts instead of just kind of cutting to it like in a room we haven't seen the whole time. So I thought that was pretty clever. Some fun little animation here and there, like just like trying to make some, sequences, or it's just scenes that like, no one's gonna ever talk about these scenes, so let's just make them visually appealing here. Some fun stuff. The Luffy, Saturn, and Kizaru altercation is a lot of fun. One of the sequences I liked was Kizaru, like, was it when Luffy grabbed him and Kizaru like kind of tried zipping out of his hand, tried attacking him. Yeah, I thought that looked really cool. But other than that, I'm trying to think if anything else really stood out to me. What are some of your thoughts?
I mirror your thoughts for sure. I think these episodes are better than some of the previous ones, where you can really, really feel that they're just kind of like biding their time until like the real showy stuff comes up. There's a lot more individual moments where you can tell that they're like just trying to keep it as interesting and as visually appealing as possible, while they kind of string us along into the big stuff. And it's just in general, like these episodes really just kind of have me reappraising and like really appreciating just the entire narrative device of the Vegapunk speech in general. Like I'm really excited to see the full scope of like both all the action and how it intertwines with the big picture stuff. So I think that's interesting. I think these are definitely solid episodes. As you said, excited to see the one that follows after this. And hopefully it's going to be just like a crazy roller coaster from here until the end.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the next episode for sure. But I think they've been nailing like the key moments, from like these chapters of the manga. Really getting across that Kizaru is remorseful, regretting everything he's doing here. I really enjoy, like when Saturn's on screen, I really enjoy seeing him because he just looks like a little, like not like a little because he's huge, but just like this demonic little creature just scurrying around.
Just like the composure and like the humanity is just sort of like slipping away.
And Luffy's fun to watch too. I think I can't help but feel like some animators are like, these are just so like, they're just very anime animators. So when it's like, oh, it's time to do something silly, a part of it kind of just feels a little stunted. Not that it's bad, but I feel like I see more of the anime sensibilities, and I see, and then it gets all cartoony and stuff.
Yeah, I think generally I like the balance that forces both tones to have.
Yeah. I like that they go for it.
I know what you mean. I know the feeling you're speaking to.
The previous episode from this, there was one moment that just irked me. It was just right before kind of Luffy like attacked Saturn. I think like he was like kind of falling from the air, but then he kind of was just floating for a second, and it looked like a Dragon Ball or a Bleach character that's just standing in midair. And I'm like, okay, come on. I'm like, at least animate him bouncing or something like that. So I don't know, just like a weird nitpick I have that doesn't really ruin anything. It's just it was just something I picked up on. Subjective more than objective. So.
Any final thoughts you'd like to get in before we move on to the next segment, Steve?
No, that'll do it.
All right, thank you very much. Let's reconvene next week if possible, and let's look forward to the anime.
We'll catch you then.
And we are back with the SGS, where you send in your comments, theories, and suggestions, and of your suggestions for who should fight whom in the Knights of God. We will start on the Discord. If you are a Patreon subscriber and you get hooked up on the Discord, you will have access to the SGS channel where you can ask your question. And I will start with Sheepman, who says, "Howdy, SGS. This question is for Greg. Do you know what Oda's favorite Pokemon is?" And I will say this is from early in August. So this was just after our last episode. Figured it was appropriate with the recent Jump/Pokemon collab. Could you find out for me? Also for Greg, I don't know where I would find an answer to this, so I'll ask you directly here if you've been able to visit the One Piece statues in Kumamoto. I went this past March, and it was the most grand experience I had on that trip, getting to explore a part of the world I may never have seen if it wasn't for One Piece.
Let's see. I'm just trying to see if he has.
I mean, he's got to have one.
Okay. I was just trying to check his line profile because sometimes he puts up like images of the Pokemon and stuff.
Yeah.
There's a problem with this in that, like, I don't know. I can't say if it's his favorite Pokemon or not, but like he does often have an image on his line profile of a certain like Pokemon, but I'm not sure if he's just like, I'm happy I got this one. It's a Pokemon Go screenshot. So like, I'm not sure if it's like, I'm happy I got. The other problem with this is I know nothing about Pokemon beyond the fact that there's a guy named Satoshi and Pikachu. I know those two, and that's about as far as it goes. So I really don't know. I can't answer that. I'm sorry about that, but that's just my own ignorance and like lack of interest in the topic, which sounds really callous. I don't mean it that way. It's just I don't know about it. It's not really my age thing. So I'm wildly uninformed. If I knew what that Pokemon was, isn't there something called like a Lugia or a Logia, and it looks like a swimming thing, but it flies. I don't know. I don't know if that's right or not. The only way I know how to describe it is like it's a Pokemon that looks like bulbous and has lines going around it, like down
familiar.
Its body. Doesn't that? And that's not Lugia, but like it's if Lugia is what I'm thinking of, then it is a Lugia looking kind of Pokemon. There's only one problem. Every other fucking Pokemon I see looks exactly like that. So even that doesn't help.
The only one I would have guessed was, at least because he drew it a couple times, was the little, mechanical one, right? That he slipped into kids' mechanical arm.
Yeah.
Right?
And like, but even that, I think it's less like that's not that that's a favorite at all. It's just like that seems like it fits. Right.
Yeah. And I feel like he probably stopped drawing that like after he got it out of his system, and then everybody was like, hey, check it out, he drew a Pokemon. And I don't think he wanted that to be like an expectation or an official part of the the experience. So yeah. Have you ever made your way down to Kumamoto?
Have I ever made my way? I was
outside of
the documentary.
Japan.
Yeah. That where I dropped the tripod on the lady's nose. Yeah. God. No, I have not seen the statues. I've heard it's quite a journey, and that it takes like a day and a half to go around and see all of them.
They're all over the prefecture, right?
That is impressive. I've seen a lot of pictures. I know a lot of people have made the pilgrimage down there to see them, but I have not done that. I can say that I probably do not intend to. I think I've had my fill of One Piece pilgrimages, and I've gone about as far as a fan can go. So I'm good on that end. At looking at pictures. But I know it must be something else to stand there. Unfortunately, I know they've had some issues with the Nami one. And we're not going to get into that in too detail, but the fact that I'm saying unfortunately and Nami, if your mind goes there, yeah, there have been some people who've done some inappropriate actions and things. But Japanese social media has been pretty good about finding those people, weeding them out, and saying like, "Yo, you shouldn't be doing this." And I don't think it's an issue anymore. But of course, there are the people who would want to stand out that way. But other than that, just wholesomeness. I would love to see the Frankie one, the Jinbei one. Oh my god, can you imagine doing the Jinbei one? Like having to be the sculptor for this, and like just being like, "This is going to cost how much?"
As many as the others combined.
Yeah.
At least for the materials.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's cool. It's nice. I'll say this. It's nice that there is a good reason for tourists to travel over to, because Kumamoto's pretty far out of the way for, most tourist destinations in Japan. So, in that sense, I feel like they've probably been a smashing success for the area. Oh yeah,
especially after the earthquake. So,
yeah, yes. All right, next one from SNP. Hey, Stephen, Greg, and Simba. What do you think about the rivalry between Shiki and Kyo and their possible backstory too? They do share the same title of Gokudo, and I saw this from one of the Japanese YouTubers. Gokudo originally referred to someone who follows the path of Ninkyo, the code of chivalry. When you consider that Shiki was originally conceived of as one of the Marine admirals, it makes sense that they chose this specific word. It suggests he's not just some random thug. That was the quote. Do you think maybe they were both former Marines? Golden Lion, Kinjishi, kind of fits the admiral's codename pattern.
So I think it's two different things. If you want to argue that were they both former Marines, I think you could make that argument. Because we don't know about their younger lives. All we know at this point is that Shiki met, what the fuck is her name, Higurashi. Like that's all we know
right.
about.
Yeah, the old lady. Yeah, from Wano.
We know that Shiki met Higurashi, and that's about all we know from before his time with Rox Zebek. Sorry, and. The other thing we know is Gokudo, and Gokudo also like Ninkyo, right?
Right.
The biggest thing you could pull from that is less than Marines is like hardline Japanese mafia, right?
Yes.
The Yakuza, like super duper. That's all you really need to know is like probably high up as well, like probably both from the world of the Yakuza. So I don't know, were they Marines that were jaded and went into illicit business dealings? Possibly. You could make that argument. I know exactly the when you're talking about like the original concept too. But does it need to be? To me, it hits me more as the fact that they were not thugs, but that they were just very highly powerful Yakuza, like Godfather level.
I gave a spiel about this when that came up, where I translated it as mobsters, just because I didn't know for sure if the insinuation was that they were specifically Yakuza, because we know the Yakuza exist in Wano, right? Like, does that mean that Shiki and Kyo are both from Wano? They certainly could be, but we don't really know that yet for sure. And I didn't necessarily want to imply any connections that Oda, because he's using a different word, right, of Gokudo, that maybe he's kind of cheekily putting a distinction between them and the actual Yakuza that we saw on Wano. But I did explain that, like, Gokudo are Yakuza, but it's kind of like the difference is sort of like if a Yakuza calls himself Yakuza, it's saying like, yeah, I'm a real like low down bastard. And a Gokudo is like I'm a man of the brotherhood or something like that. It's kind of like, this is the fancy way that we would say it. or something like that. They have different connotations, but even if it is basically referring to the same people or the same culture, so it could just be Oda's playing around with it there, but it's an interesting choice for sure.
So yeah, I do like the idea. I cannot put that
Sure.
down.
Yeah. Let's see how Stelly got his Goa back. Says, dang it, I meant to bring it. I knew that there was some question where I was like, oh, I should tell Greg about this beforehand, but I forgot about it. Of course. Hello, Simba, Steven, and Greg. I hope life is treating you well. Both of you, and maybe Simba, are very skilled translators. So I'm curious, is there something, an instance or instances in your translating careers that was quite a hurdle, that was particularly challenging and made you annoyed, but was very rewarding in the end and made you even better, that you would like to share? Have a great week. Trying to think, like, it's specifically in terms of like a big hurdle, but one that I felt like I learned something from. I mean, you're always learning, right? Like there's always there's always stuff that you realize or you come to understand that you didn't necessarily know before, or every time you read a new book, you're seeing words used in different contexts and stuff. I could choose just about anything.
I think I got it. Shall I, or are you still?
Yeah, go ahead.
Mulling over. Okay. This is one of those questions. Like it could change tomorrow.
Yes.
My answer. And I don't know if it's the biggest per se, but it's something that stands out as even today, being terrifying to me. And it happened again yesterday. And it's
all right.
It's not necessarily something that you can quote unquote learn from, or it's not a piece of information that like you just like, oh, I took this way and this will always help me solve this problem, because it's not so always easily solved. But the need to, and this is odd, unfortunately it's not as much about like the scholar end of it in so much as it is the logistic end of it, but not that I see myself as scholarly, but you know what I mean. I mean like the know-how of it. That's a better way to put it. The know-how.
Yeah.
There was a sound effect. I'll describe the situation as it occurred yesterday. There's a sound effect in doing Die, the Adventure of Die, and it was ta-da, ta-da, which like you'd normally read is just like drip or drizzle, or like the sound of something drizzling down, right? And it was the character's forehead, and the panel that this was in, for whatever reason, the PDF that I received it in, it has like a tone that doesn't gel well with Adobe Acrobat or whatever. And it was very blurred. Like even the text is blurred, and you compare it to other panels, they look fine. This one is blurred. So the quality was a little bit low, but I could see what was going on. And I was like, okay, all right. But like, there's a crest on the main character's head that shines. And in this particular panel, it's reacting to another character with a similar crest, and they're kind of resonating. And it has these, the character shown to be in pain, and his hair is opening. His hair on his forehead is opening, so you can see the crest, and it seems to be shining, and he's in pain. And for the life of me, I couldn't figure out what Tara was trying to describe. And I go, that's weird. So I saved that to be one of the last things I translated. Later in the same job, an almost identical panel is depicted, and this time a bandana has been wrapped around the crest, but it's still like shown to be shining. And again, it says Tara. And he's in pain again. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Why twice? Like, what is Tara here? And so I save it. When I get to something that I absolutely am baffled on, not only do I save it to the end, but I ask my wife. I consult my wife,
Mm-hmm.
and she has a consultant fee and everything. We work through that, but I said, honey, I'm sorry, I can't figure out what's going ta-da. And she's going, well, maybe it's his hair opening. And I'm going, nah, it can't be his hair, but that's you wouldn't use it that way. But also the positioning doesn't seem to be showing that. Like the main focus of the movement isn't on the hair spreading. And we looked through it a little bit, and some obscure definition of it seemed to be like it could be a pulsing. So I was like, okay, so maybe I'll put it as like da-dum, like a heartbeat, like da-dum. Maybe it's supposed to be like a kind of a heartbeat sound effect because it's pulsing.
Yeah.
But I wasn't satisfied with it. There is and obviously by the end of this, my wife didn't have any idea too. She's like, your guess here is as good as mine. There is a Dai superfan who I work with, and she's wonderful. She's awesome. She knows Dai as well as I know One Piece, if not better. And I consult with her, and I show her some of my work, and I say, is there anything I can do better here to make it for the fans? Because I originally am not a Dai fan. I'm not a diehard fan. Okay, I'll stop. So she brought that point up. She saw my da-dum, and she said, this should be blood dripping. And I'm going, blood dripping? What the hell? How, where? So I go back to the panel with low quality, and sure enough, like it's the panel that I see is pixelated, but sure enough, there is a pixel of darkness below the crest, and I go, huh, interesting, okay, but like still like it doesn't make sense because it's not in the next image with Tada. And I go to the next image, sure enough, it's a fine quality. I don't see anything there. So it was literally a fucking Blade Runner enhance. Oh my
God.
And strangely enough, because I said there's a bandana on this second one, right? Just below the bandana, there's the faintest lines, faintest outline of something. And I'm going, no fucking way. No way. No, well, this isn't what I think it is it? And I go back to my source, my expert, and I say, hey, so I can see that there might be blood underneath the first one, but that second one, I don't really see anything, but it does seem to be a oddly faint line or series of lines under. Could you possibly show me something from the original volume or the color? Because it was coincidentally a color chapter. And she's like, sure, no problem. And she sends me back, Stephen, what's underneath the original, not only the original tankobon, but the original color? Blood red dripping down from underneath the bandana.
God.
So because I don't think it's been censored per se, but because some person in the creation of this this newest edition raised the contrast or something to a certain degree.
Right.
The blood is nearly invisible on this panel.
Sheesh.
And in the first panel, it's simply not. Even in the real version, like you can see, there's a little thing of blood coming down, but it's not like oozing. It became impossible for me as the translator to discern what this was.
God.
So in time for final submission, I was able to get it in as in like a drizzle sound effect. But this is the importance of having to compare multiple versions, just as you said, like with the change for the, I don't know, not Myanmar family,
right?
Manmeyer family. Especially for older works, you need to look at if you read something and you're like, wait, this doesn't make any sense. Like I'm not getting anything out of this. Go to Book Off or secondhand, Japanese bookstore and get the original comic and compare and contrast and see if there's something you're missing there visually. Because this also happened with the Toriyama thing. For I guess rights reasons, they had to pull out a Ultraman villain from one of the
mm-hmm.
panels, and like there were multiple jokes that like didn't make sense because this thing wasn't pictured there, and they didn't
Yeah.
change the dialogue to reflect it.
They just erased it.
It just erased
Oh
it, and it's
man.
just like, what the fuck is going on? And that was a whole other thing. Like, Alexi, which one do I translate? Like, which one do I translate for? So that was a hard lesson in that you need to be, if there's something that doesn't make sense, if you just have a gut feeling like this isn't right,
I'm missing something.
Even native people aren't, understanding this properly. Is there something being cut out? So like, thank God I went to her and I was like, hey, is there that experience with the Toriyama manga theater thing helped me understand and be like, hey, is there possibly something that's cut out of here? Could you send me the original? That was a hard lesson. Luckily, not an embarrassing lesson. But it's all thanks to double checking and checking and the work of my my source here. She's a great expert. But that is probably one of my biggest lessons with the know-how of translation.
That's a good, that's an interesting story. There's probably been something like that. I think I remember working on some manga where it was a manga adaptation of a light novel, and there was something where like I was looking at the manga version, and like it turned out that they had like copied over. It was like a character was filling out a crossword, and so like when you do crosswords in Japanese, you fill it out with like katakana, like everything just converts into katakana. And so it was like they were filling out a really long one, and then they copied the wrong the wrong kana for one of them, and I was just like, what the hell is this? And I had to look back.
Bad.
Yeah, I had to look back at, and unfortunately it was something that I think it was the scene that was in the novel. And in this case, it was a series where I was doing both sides of it. So like I was able to go back and look. But it was something crazy too, because it was a really long word. So it was like, it was like the Japanese translation of, I think it was like broken window theory or something, the whole thing about like, if you pass by and you see broken windows, it suggests whatever to the person. And yeah, they just completely whiffed on it, and nobody caught it. And that was a close call. I think in terms of like, challenging, or like, I don't know if this really fits the question, but it was something that popped into my head, like a couple years back, maybe 5 years ago or something like that. I ended up doing a bunch of jobs for Kodansha because it just happened to coincide that a bunch of their classic sci-fi hits, these sort of like tentpole manga, were getting anniversary editions. Like we're going to put out a big hardcover version of this, or it was something that was originally published before, but we want to redo it, or it was only in they flopped it to read from left to right, and we're going to put it in the original orientation. So we need someone to take a look at these things. And so I did this process for Akira. I did it for Ghost in the Shell, and then it wasn't the same thing, but I also did a similar thing. I did an updated like translation for Parasite. That was that was more recent. And then they had me redo the original Gunmu, or Battle Angel Alita. So like I had all of these, kind of similar profile series. And so like some of them are interesting because Akira was like, you could look at it and there were certain points where, because it had been originally, it had gone through a couple different editions. Like it was originally published by, I think, Marvel, like early on. And then Dark Horse got it, and they changed. I think they updated it, or they may have done their own version or something like that. But there were certain parts where you could see like, okay, this is a spot where they made like an editorial decision to change something. and like, okay, well, in this version, I'm going to revert this to something that's closer to the Japanese or whatever. And, in this case, like, oh, I can see they made a mistake here. There's a little minor mistake here. I can correct that. And so, just little things here and there, and like, redoing all the sound effects and stuff like that. However, the Ghost in the Shell thing it was like an all-in-one. So it was like multiple. There are a couple different books of Ghost in the Shell that the author did over the years, and they were doing. I forget if it was a box set or if it was an all-in-one, but I had to look through like 3 different books for this stuff, and that was 2 things. That was originally translated by Frederick Schott, who's like a
Wow.
super famous, like he's like he's the guy who was friends with Osamu Tezuka, back in the 80s and 70s and stuff. Pioneer in translating Japanese comics into English. And number 2 is, if you've ever read like the original Ghost in the Shell manga, not the movies, not the TV shows that they did, but like actually read the original source material, it is like impenetrable. It is so complicated. There's so much stuff that he throws in there where it's like he just wanted to draw this thing and tell you about it, and like there's barely a narrative that goes through it, and it's so hard to understand. And I remember buying the Dark Horse version. That was one of the very first manga that I ever bought when I was a teenager. And like, I was like, oh man, this is really cool. I have no idea what any of it means, but like, man, it's so cool. Like, I'm getting into anime. That was kind of like my version of it. And so coming back to it as an adult, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, yeah, this is still really hard to understand. But like, my job was to like oversee the training, look at the script, make sure that it's all correct, or that there's nothing that we need to fix, and make sure that all the sound effects are right and everything. And like, for the life of me, I could not find anything. Like, there were so few things to actually fix from that. And, I just felt like I was like poring over the Bible or something like that. I was just like, oh my God, how was this like so perfectly done in the 90s, before Google and, all of the resources that we have to translate stuff today. So yeah, that was a pretty mind blowing experience, just to be like, wow, this was so impeccably done that even me, like looking over it with a magnifying glass, I could barely find anything to change.
Well,
So,
Sasaga, Frederick Schott. I mean,
right.
That name is a blast from the past. You hit me back to college there. Yeah, if you've never read it, like manga, like
Yes.
I haven't read it in probably 20 years now, but like, if you have not,
me too.
you
must
read that. That's a Bible for translation. A lot of it will not teach you how to translate. It will not teach you any Japanese. It will teach you how to approach the idea of approaching the field of translation.
Yes. Yeah.
A
great book. Well, let's go from that question to Pongzilla, who says, what weird devil fruits would you like to see? I want to see a natto fruit.
Be sticky.
And
smelly.
Mm-hmm. Well, what if there was a fruit that produced a bunch of arrows that went whatever direction you wanted? And no, weird devil fruits would you like to see?
Weird devil fruit. You know what's hilarious about this is I'm trying to think of stuff and I'm coming up with ideas, and it's literally like, nope, Oda did it.
Yeah. It was on the tip of my tongue. I was about to say like the bouncy ball fruit, and I was like, that is the main character of this fucking series.
Oh God. I got one.
Shoot.
The what would you even call it? The mania mania fruit, where once you hear information about a topic, you automatically sort it and can recall that information at any time without pause. That would be so useful. You could even go a step further. It's like once you hear the name of something that you're not familiar with, you instantly know everything about it that is known to humankind.
Wow.
Like that's super OP, but
yeah.
Like, as long as we're going weird, fine. I'm gonna go fucking weird. But like, yeah, mania mania fruit is you can recall. You have eidetic memory.
Yes, there you go. Nice. What weird devil fruit? How about like the soup fruit? Like how would you incorporate that into a story? You make people drink you? That would be weird. And then
He'd have an
bust out of
interesting
them.
spin on it, wouldn't he? It'd be like, it wouldn't. Do you make soup or do you become soup, or does that count as a liquid? And
Is
therefore
soup
you can't, is it useless?
Soup is a logia.
In which case, do you become curry? Because is curry a soup or is curry a food? And in that case, can you use your powers as curry because you are a food, but you can't use it as soup? Because that's a whole thing in Japanese, right? That's if you don't, it's a stupid thing. Sure. Is curry a drink or is curry a food?
Right, that's their version of like
is the
hot dog a sandwich?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. I think, God, isn't there like a Chojin from Kinnikuman who's like Curry Man or something like that? That sounds like something you would see in Kinnikuman. All right. Big Mike has our next question as a very important question. In the last SBS, a reader suggested, so now you may not remember this because it was in the most recent volume, but in the last SBS, a reader suggested that Gerd and Ripley's bra sizes are W cups for World Cup. And Oda revealed that the average breast size of a giant woman is 6 meters, which is 19 feet and 8 inches. But did you know that when you convert a bra size from Japanese to American, you usually go back 1 or 2 letters depending on the brand? For example, the American conversion of Nami and Robin's J cups are I cups. So, Steven, since you are the official translator, can the American conversion of Gerd and Ripley's W cups be V cups for Valley cups for the valley in between their bosoms? This is just the Robin joke again from the Tentatas. The Bichiku, the region B, V cups. Well, to answer your question seriously, unfortunately, it is too late because I already turned it in. But that is a very clever observation. I like that. Reverse Eye Patch has our last question on Discord. It says, SGS, I heard a theory I want your opinion on. So the 5 elders only had their discussion about the gum fruit being the Nika fruit in Wano. Then they immediately told CP0 to kill Luffy. Why did they never do this before, like in Ennia's lobby or at Marineford? Well, what if when Shamrock or Shanks, it could still be Shanks, told them he needed to discuss a certain pirate, he was revealing that yo-ho-ho, Luffy took a bite of gum and the true name of the fruit. Maybe the elders didn't even know about the Nika stuff, or Luffy was so far below their radar that they didn't know what his fruit was. I'm guessing it would be the former, since Imu had his wanted poster and the giant hat. Yeah, I mean, that also raises the question of like how much does Imu share with the 5 elders, since that was at least that stuff with the poster and the hat was kind of in Imu's secret space as far as we can tell. I'm
going to say disagree because, and that's a great question, but I don't think it works out because who's who is in the loop about this, about the fruit, and he left the government quite some time ago.
That's right. He was a CP? CP0? Yeah, okay.
I don't know which CP he was, but he was a CP. I don't have that. I need the eidetic memory.
Yeah, you need the.
I have it for the
Akashic
first half
record.
of the series, not for the second half. And because he had that information, and he does know that it's he's the isn't he like the first person who says the name Nika? Is he not?
No, was he? Yeah, was that before, or I guess yeah, it was. It was him, wasn't it? Because didn't he say it just before Luffy gets knocked out, and then he does the grin, he does the Nika sound effect, and then he transforms. Because that was right around that same time. He did that. He did
prior
like
to
a
that,
quick
we
one
only knew
and
it as
two.
Joy Boy.
Yeah. Yes,
I think he's the first person to say Nika. I think.
I believe you're. I think you're right about that.
And it might just be overshadowed by the racist. Like that was the thing about who's racist.
Yeah, right.
That was the big thing. But and if he knows that, if he has that connection, especially because he was transporting the fruit at the time, yeah,
right.
They should be in the know.
Yeah,
Maybe there's something I'm missing, or maybe there's something I'm misremembering. Like say for instance, like he knew it at the time, but they never were able to pass that information along. Like maybe there's some twist there, but if there's not, I don't think that works. My whole justification has, and I might have mentioned this before, so I'm not going to get deep into it, but has always been like they didn't want to draw attention to it because they realize the more they draw attention to it and the more they focus on this individual, the bigger problem it could actually be for them in the end. So I think maybe they just wanted to nip it in the bud when it was opportune for them. Which is then like, but then why did they handle Robin the way they did? Like, why did they want to draw attention to this little girl who obviously was so dangerous? But I think it's if you could consider who is more dangerous, would by multiple levels, I would think that the literal enemy, the natural enemy of their, well, maybe not natural because you never know about. Well, never mind. Sorry, that's a whole other thing. But yeah, the enemy of their essential god would probably be the top of their list. So maybe that was a special consideration. Right. I'll still subscribe to that for now, but that was a really interesting consideration. I wonder if there's something going on there. Yeah, good call.
Yeah. I think that either way, we are kind of we're all kind of trying to retroactively fit that in. Like I don't necessarily think that there was a logical, like consistent mindset of the characters that Oda was working from, that they would if I say this then they have to have known all that. I do think that we're trying to kind of like retroactively find a logic in there that maybe he didn't think about, or he's just kind of making stuff up as he goes. So we might be, this might be futile, but I think that's an interesting way to try to explain that, for sure. All right, that's it for the Patreon. But we do have, I think we have maybe 2 more on Twitter. And you can submit questions using the hashtag SGS Sensei. That's all one word, no punctuation. That is, you can do that on either Twitter or Blue Sky. So we'll start with Michael Cunningham at Michael X Edge, who says, let's see, not Greg dropping the coldest theory that would be wild if true on the latest SGS. I believe in Strusen. I hope I spelled that correctly. So I guess this is his reaction to your 10th member conspiracy theory.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. I was pretty blunt about it in my latest article. I mean, I left a few things ambiguous, but I very heavily leaned into, like, I think that he might join, or not might join. I think he might be a member of the crew, and it seems to have gotten through. It seems to have gotten final approval. So, yeah, you can look forward to that. It's on their website. So.
Yeah. Either it's okay or it's just completely off base, and they're like, okay, yeah, Greg, you just say whatever.
Yep.
Whatever comes to your mind.
Yep. That's
And we'll
exactly
find
what
out.
that means.
Yes. Okay. And our last one here is from our frequent question writer, OP at Champagne Bala, who has a bunch of questions as usual. Let's see if I can parse them all, because sometimes I have no idea what he's asking. Elbaf length guess. Well, that's a pretty easy one to guess. How much longer will Elbaf go? Oh, the longer this flashback goes, the further out the guess becomes. But yeah, at this point, I don't know. It might be like 1200 ish. I don't know. What do you think?
I'm looking for
We're at 1160 right now.
Looking for my part 5 of the end of One Piece.
Oh yeah. You consult the tome that you wrote.
The Harley.
Yeah, the Harley. That's right.
Elbaf must consist of, or will probably consist of, fish out of water arrival, formal introduction of new cast members and factions, presentation of a main problem, dramatic link between local and main cast domain problems, physically placing the Straw Hats in conflict, action/drama conflict, resolution lore dump, and setting off. Currently, we are in action drama conflict. And I do have a whole write-up about this. You can read this on the One Piece Podcast website. You just need to do a search for One Piece Podcast and the end of One Piece, or end of One Piece, however you like that. And it'll come up. It's a massive thing I wrote.
Yeah.
But let's see. Where am I right now? We're in action drama conflict, and I have written here, here's where everything goes out the window. This is the phase where Oda will absolutely lowball his expectations for the length of the arc. As should he find himself enjoying the work, he will absolutely overshoot the projected length. I do not expect this phase to be nearly as long as Wano, but it also needs to carry a story that is meaningful drama with satisfying conflicts, and that takes time. And that takes time. I would expect this section to take no fewer than 25 chapters. If a flashback or flash sideways is thrown in the mix, we're easily looking at 30 to 40 chapters. All right? And that's just where we are right now. So if we do some quick math, this leaves us anywhere between 56 and 98 chapters for Elbaf if Oda doesn't go all in on flashbacks. If you look at One Piece's manga release for 2022, Chapter 1036 was the first release, and Chapter 1070 was the last to be released within the year. So that's a total of 35 chapters for the year. While I don't expect Oda to dip as low as 35 every year until the series completion, there's plenty of work and life events that could bring the number down within that range again, and I don't think we'll ever see more than 45 chapters a year, unless there's something that really lights fire in them. So, Elbaf chapter count, 56 to 98 chapters, real world time, 1.5 to 3 years. We're actually, as of this podcast, we're at the 1 year.
Wow.
Like this is
Nice.
This is like, yeah. Or as of this recording, we're at 1 year. I think it was like the 16th of September or something, where we had like, I think the first Lego blocks, or like the first introduction to the world.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're there. 1.5 looks like it will clear with ease. I don't think we'll hit 2 years. So the question is, do we end do we end by next summer? Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Do you think he'll wrap Elbaf up? Like, could he split after this flashback?
That I don't know.
I would say 1.5 years we will easily hit. That's my lowball expectation. So
yeah,
that would be, I don't know, March, April.
Yeah, I think we'll definitely shoot past that. Yeah.
So yeah,
I wouldn't be. Yeah, I would guess next summer maybe. We'll see.
You can read all of this. This is much longer. I go in depth about each part of Elbaf, and I do have a chapter like breakdown, and like at least the first parts of it, I was fucking on point, and I stopped counting each section of the chapter numbers So I haven't done that in quite some time, and I figured I'll do it after the action drama conflict area is done. But so far, so good.
All right. Very nice. Next question. Where would we get an Akainu versus Luffy? I mean, I don't think it's going to be a random moment. It's definitely got to be something that pulls Akai, unless we somehow go back to the center of power, which doesn't seem likely for the Straw Hats. It would have to be Akainu sailing forth with the fleet. So, that's like maybe it's either Laugh Tale or the previous island that, everybody converges on. That's my guess is the only time if that's going to happen. Because I don't see, I don't. It's certainly not going to happen while he is stuck in his office on Marineford.
Yeah. Movement. There was an interesting development recently. I think it was if Colin is successfully kidnapped, then at some point there will probably be a movement towards Marijoa. But I feel like Davy Jones's locker, if that's what we're looking at for our destination, for our Laugh Tale under the ocean,
Ooh,
is at the end of the line, the end of the Grand Line. So Reverse Mountain, like I see that being the natural progression, but like then how will movement be? My long-standing theory, as everybody knows, is that there will be 10 Marinefords going on at the same time, right? We all know this. This is I've gone over this countless times. How far will they be separated? In other words, will the Straw Hat crew actually be separated around the world? Like my idea was always they'd be in a general region, but what if they are 10 conflicts dotted around the world? Then you'd have a crew member going to Marijoa. You'd have probably the central, probably Luffy at Reverse Mountain at the locker.
Like that.
Would that be how this ends up? Because everybody will be involved.
Yeah, I think it would be much more likely that that's what the fleets are doing, or all the friends who we have made along the way. They'll be the ones, doing the proxy fighting around the world. That seems more likely to me. But,
whatever it is, there's going to be like transportation is going to become simple by the end of this.
Oh yeah, he's not going to allow the rules that he built, 27 years ago to stop him from, making the confrontation or the conclusion that he wants. So
yeah, people are going to get places very fast where they previously couldn't.
Yeah.
And he has a number of reasons for that. He has he has Maxim because Anel's going to be back in the story. He has Maxim. He has Noah. He has a possibly new rocket train. He has Zoe. He has fucking Water 7 itself. Was supposed to be made into a ship, right? So, he has many options for fast travel. Fast travel will be unlocked very quickly for the world.
Yes.
So it is theoretically possible that he could pull that off while having it still feel good. I mean, by that I mean having the crew split up. The point is that they all come together at the end. So do they split up? Do they have different goals at different locations? They have their conflicts, and then the final concentrated conflict, does that occur at the bottom of Reverse Mountain? From this point, movement is very difficult to read. But it depends. A lot of it depends on whether Colin gets successfully kidnapped or not.
Okay. Well, you just mentioned the Arc Maxim. What does Emu's face look like? Arc Maxim / Buddha-ish?
I was just thinking of that this week. Like we've seen this like Easter Island like type face, right? Like throughout the
Yeah.
series. Like you see it, and obviously that comes very much from that is probably not something that Oda had planned, right? Like
No.
not at all, I don't think. It might be something he works back into the story.
Right.
But I was just thinking about that. So funny. This week I was like, yeah, what if like the god ended up having the Maxim, and that's why, and they're, created that in God's image, right? Because you also see the Easter Island face reflected in the Yeti brothers, because their real faces are the Easter Island faces as well. But I don't think that will be the case.
No.
I mean, we've talked a lot about Im, but no, I don't think so.
Yeah, I think for one thing, like when Emu's full name is like a sort of joke on God and Buddha, I do think that then having him look like Buddha, or having a very obvious religious, I mean, depending on how Oda does it, like I don't think it would be explicitly looking like a real world figure, because I just think that would be a hat on a hat. That's something that it would be like, well, duh. So now he looks like the thing that his name is like a secretly named after. That's not exactly very, very exciting. I think I've said before that, to me, I don't know what Emu is going to look like, but it can only be one of two things, which is either Emu has to look really, really bizarre, or like unearthly beautiful. I feel like that, with the amount of tension built up around, what the appearance of Emu will be, it can only be one of those two things, because anything less than that is going to be like, what was this all for, if it just looks like a normal person?
Yeah.
So,
and we're very much in the at least I am in the beautiful category at this point, with considering the Lily options right now. So
right,
I'm in that category for now. But and that would be perfectly contrasted with the whatever the abomination is, right? As you said, really, really bizarre or unearthly beautiful is Lily now, insanity later.
Does Davy Jones cause devil fruit users to sink? I mean, that's the legendary reason, right? Is like, if you're hated by the sea, or you're you don't have the good luck with you, then Davy Jones will claim you and pull you down to his locker on the seafloor. I kind of doubt that would be like an in-story reason. I think it's a fun folklore thing.
See, I don't see it as I see it as the opposite. As was Davy forced down into the sea by Emu? Is that his last bastion? Like he was cursed by the devil, right? He was so bad that he was cursed by the devil to live at the bottom of the sea, and that's where he lives to this day, right?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's almost verbatim what Robin says in the Davy Back area.
Right.
And was the quote unquote devil the actual abomination? Like, was that the thing? And did that make it so that he had to live down there permanently? If he's alive, that's the whole, like, if he's alive thing. But yeah, I don't know if he brings people down to the sea, or if it's the devil that is doing that. I mean, literally, we've watched the devil fruits do that to people, right? You eat the devil fruit and you get quote unquote cursed by the sea. Yeah. What brings life to people? Which is interesting that he used that, like the mother life energy thing, right? It's like, because you do get good versus evil in that, yeah. And life comes from the sea, and the devil takes it away, right? So you're cursed by the sea if you're using the devil if it's a part of you. Interesting.
Next
Yeah,
question
sorry.
is
I'm
just-
if you let me go there, we'll be here for another 5 hours. So.
And then the next question is just water devil fruit? Question mark.
Oh, that's
I think
that's as old as one. That's since we knew about the devil fruit rules,
right?
Yeah,
yeah. I think you can only do that one if that comes hand in hand with like, here's what the truth of what the devil fruits are, because it's the one thing that you cannot imagine based on everything we know. So it can only be true if it's revealed as part of like the truth of what they actually are.
the closest they came was the movie 2 villain, right? That lady.
Oh God, I don't
She
even.
had-
It's been 25 years since I watched that. Probably.
Yeah, she was like a liquid or something. I think there was some. They had an explanation for it. It was like, what? She's water, but you can't be water. And yeah.
I bet Oda loved that. Who will join the Straw Hats main crew? In parentheses, Vivi, Loki, Yamato.
All of the above.
Yeah, why not? I mean, if it's just
We got the main crew for now, but
Yeah.
after when the series finishes and they go on their next adventure, like all of the above.
mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Any Hinokizu theory updates? Is it Davy/Rocks? The burn scar. Yeah, I haven't really thought about this much since we got into the flashbacks, and since it's just been like, okay, well, we're all learning the past here. I haven't really thought about the mysteries from the present.
So I alluded to this earlier, right? And it's like, is Rox alive or is Rox dead?
Right. Yeah.
I don't like this question. I don't dislike anybody for asking this question. I think it's a great question, actually, and you could spend a lot of time on it. But that's why I don't like it, is because it's so frustrating. And to me, Oda has not introduced enough crumbs that you can accurately hit it. Can you guess it? Yes, but can you accurately hit it based on facts? No, not at this point. You can guess based on what you like for the story, but there's no definitive yet. There's no winning guess to my mind's eye.
Yeah.
So far, and if Rox is alive, then I believe that he is Hinokizu, right? If
Sure.
he's
Why not?
If he's not, then I guess he's not. But like Rox being alive would fuck.
I mean,
With
I'll
how
say
he's going so family, Rox being alive would be a reward for Blackbeard. Does Blackbeard is Blackbeard owed a reward? How do you feel about that? Right? Like, if you can answer that question, then yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, I was just thinking to myself when you mentioned, okay, well, if Rox is dead, then he's taken off the board. Well, we already lost, presumably, unless Oda comes back and is like, oh, actually, this character was the burn scar, which would be pretty weak. But it seems like we got Scopper Gaban taken off the board for that one as well, since he showed up and there has not been any.
What if it's fucking Harold? What if it's Harold? What do we know for a absolute fact that event killed him? We know it traumatized Loki. We know everybody in the country thinks he's dead.
I mean, everybody assumes he's dead.
What if it's fucking Harold? And what if that's the eyes? What if those are the Thriller Bark eyes? Now, I've obviously a lot of ideas about Thriller Bark eyes, but what if that's his ship?
I see. Okay, maybe that's true, but I would take issue with that, as a storytelling device, because they didn't say. You would think if he was the biggest giant you've ever seen, that people would mention that when they talk about the guy, instead of being like, oh, well, he's he's surrounded by a whirlpool and his ship, and his ship is a ghost ship and blah blah blah. Like, you would think if they know he has a burn scar, they would mention he's a fucking huge giant. That's just me.
You think counterpoint, if you think they know he has at least a fucking burn scar, they call the motherfucker by his name.
Right.
and no, I'm being somewhat facetious there, but like, No, that's a good point. Yeah, would that be his identifying quality or not? Yeah, right.
Right.
Um,
So that's how I would rule that one out. Last thing, since we are now at the seemingly close to the end of Yamato's pilgrimage, what do you think the next cover story could be?
oh God, there was a huge buildup to this one, right? Like it might even be the longest ever of like non-story covers.
Oh yeah, between the last one and this one.
Yes. He really pulled it out.
It could be a long time.
Is it a long time between? And here's a even scarier question: will there be another one?
Yeah, that almost makes me wonder.
Now that's a bit clickbaity, but like,
yeah, sure.
But also at the same time, like, what other story can he tell at this point that he's not going to bring in? Now, the crazy thing he could do, the absolute batshit craziest thing he could do, is tell a story from a perspective of someone we don't know, and like we have no idea what's going on, and like it will all come together at the end. Like it'll come back into the story. Pudding would be an interesting one too, if she's not just in a cell. Like if we get to experience, I know I'm counteracting what I just said, but like, yeah, she would be an interesting.
I would like that. That could be interesting potentially,
because she'd have a unique perspective from the Blackbeard side, and that'd be a way to progress their story as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess the most likely answer will be like it's gonna be like the aerial adventures of fucking Pythagoras and Edison or whatever. I was just thinking, okay, well, if it's after Wano, it's got to be Egghead. So who do we even know from Egghead still? And I'm like, oh well, it could be the other.
You're right. That's really good. Yeah, that's really good. It's because they're kind of an outside force and they're doing their own thing and they can see perspectives of the world.
Right. I mean, he could make it count, or he could just, or it's just a setup for like, oh, they could do anything. They could go anywhere because they're just floating along. So, no stakes. I can just tell whatever, lackadaisical story I want.
Yeah. Good point. I would probably concede to that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that is all. Once again, if you would like to send your questions to us in between SGS recordings, just use the hashtag SGS Sensei on Twitter or Blue Sky, or as mentioned previously, if you are a Patreon subscriber, you can get the access to the channel for the SGS, and I'll see your questions there. But with that, I think we are ready to round this one out.
Yes, we are.
Okay, let's do it. This has been the One Piece Podcast, episode 885 for Monday, September 22nd, 2025. Once again, another wonderful and enlightening episode of the SGS. And that means it's time to round off your favorite part of the show, Greg. What can you say to all the people who are dying to contact you individually, in person? Where can they do that?
You can find me on Twitter, Ojimusho108, and on the One Piece website, one-piece.com. Go looking in their special good section. I think you'll find a picture of me in my glorious chopper hat.
Wonderful.
Where can people find you, Stephen? Did that with so much enthusiasm.
Was that so hard? Yeah, you can find me posting somewhat regularly over on Blue Sky at stephenpaul.bsky.social. And check out the all the other stuff I do. I have a new series from Jump Plus called Kurumizawa's Folly. Actually, they've really stockpiled those chapters. It's just been a whirlwind of working on that series. And they should be coming out weekly for a little while, and hopefully I'll get a little break and we'll slow down a bit. But that is on the Shonen Jump app as well. As for the podcast, you can check out our site, onepiecepodcast.com. Follow us on social media. We do have One Piece Podcast at twitter.com or X or whatever. We don't use it very much anymore. Blue Sky at onepiecepodcast.com is where we share the latest news. Adil has been posting the pictures and little clips and things from the live action show as they release them. You can find us on youtube.com/One Piece Podcast and Apple Podcasts and Spotify, all the usual places where you can subscribe to the regular audio show. You can also no longer call us at 347-497-MAJI. That's 347-497-6254. Do not call that number. It does not work any longer. But that's gonna do it, Greg. Boy, that was a fun. I wasn't sure how long we were gonna go, but we once again lived up to expectations.
Every time. It's not that much. It's only 3 chapters. Yeah. We've done in the past like 4 or 5 chapters. We've gotten through them. And it's only 3 chapters. This we're gonna be done in like maybe an hour. I think we can
barely
get
anything
maybe an
happens.
hour. I'm gonna shut up and yep. Here we are, 3 fucking hours. This is
Yep.
I hope you enjoyed it. I hope everybody listening enjoyed it.
Yeah. Well, sometimes it's fun to talk about your weird nightmare translation scenario that you'll never get over because the the image quality was too blown out to see the trail of blood. That's some behind the scenes baseball there. That's good stuff. All right. Well, we will be back next week. Actually, I think. Am I going to be back? I might not be back next week. I think I might be away. Yeah. Actually, yes, that's right. I will be at a baseball game next Sunday. So, you will get the regularly scheduled podcast. However, talking about the next chapter. So look forward to that. But in the meantime, my name is Steven.
My name is Greg.
Meow, 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 meow. And there's Simba. He's trying to sleep. We just keep interrupting him. But he'll be fine. Don't worry.